Hi guys, welcome to my palette collection 2022. This has been a long time coming. I wanted to do this in the summertime, but I have that many palettes, I knew this was going to be a long video. So please make sure you've got a drink, some snacks. This is going to be a long one, let's settle in together. But I absolutely love collection videos, I love watching them, so I hope you enjoy. If you can hear noises in the background, that's just my little kitten Zuko having the time of his life. He does like to be up here with me when I film. So yeah, if you hear little bells, scratching sounds, anything like that, it's my kitten. I just did want to say before we begin that anything that I do declutter within this, because I am a makeup hoarder, it will be going to my friends or patrons. They're going to have first dibs. I'm not going to be sending makeup out to anybody that is going to be commenting on this video, watching this video, that asks me to send anything out. Also, this is my hobby and passion, and it's something I love to do, not just for my channel, but just for me. I do realise I have quite a large collection, probably bigger than most average makeup lovers. So let's try and keep the comments nice, happy, friendly. This is a nice place to be. And let's dive into the massive collection of palettes that I have. As you may be able to tell, surrounding me, I do have quite a lot of Makeup Revolution. I thought we'd try and begin with that, but I do have a few random bits and bobs, and that is because they are sort of in my new in basket. So I thought I would dig those out first and show you those. So first up, we have got the ColourPop Star Wars C3PO palette, which is extremely new to my collection. One of my amazing friends sent this to me, and I am so excited to try this. This is going to be within the next few days that I'm using this, because look at this packaging. It's amazing. I have recently discovered I absolutely love Star Wars. So when I saw this palette, I'm like, okay, I know what you're thinking. It's probably on the neutral side. I am quite a bright, colourful makeup lover, but this is leaning very, very yellow, and it's got depth and light and mid-tones, so it definitely tickled my fancy, and I'm excited to give this one a go. Then we've got my only palette that I own from Game Beauty. I would like to collect more from this brand, and they are sort of based on gaming inspired makeup. I don't want to blind you with the mirrors in these palettes, but look at this gorgeous colour story. It does unfortunately have one pressed glitter. I do believe the other palettes from Game Beauty don't have pressed glitters. This is the only one, but I'm actually showing you it upside down. That's fun, isn't it? But yeah, this one is a beautiful colour story. I have dipped into this for actually the brown shade, can you believe, and the bright green. I can't wait to do a full look with this. I can do videos on any of these. If you want me to, just request it in the comments. Okay, we have our first declutter item. This is a Primark palette. It's a PS Chill Zone palette, and is that what it's called? Chill Zone. It's got 5 shades, and they're rubbish. Terrible, terrible quality. I think this is supposed to be like a Natasha Denona dupe. It's definitely not. I think it's supposed to have 3 shimmers and 2 mattes, and the colour story is a little bit muted and lackluster for me, and the formula is absolutely rubbish. So this is my first declutter item. Then we've got another one I'm yet to try. This is the Marvelous Mauves from Dose of Colours. I don't believe I've got any Dose of Colours eyeshadows apart from one single. Let me take the plastic out. I can't wait to try this. I do love a mauve, and this looks beautiful. Light to dark. This is going to be a theme that you're going to see when I'm talking about these palettes, because I like things that have a range from really dark to really light and some nice mid-tones, and I think this is beautiful. Zuko, you can't be in my declutter box. You are not being decluttered. Then we have the Huda Beauty 12 Days of Luna palette. Now, I was kindly sent this by my amazing friend because she knew I wanted a makeup advent calendar, and this was the only one that was tickling my fancy. And this is absolutely stunning. I'm dropping it. The packaging is beautiful. I do wish it matches the inside. I don't think the colour story corresponds with the gorgeous packaging. However, having said that, I think the colour story is beautiful. And I have used this twice already off camera. I have got looks on my Instagram, and I have reached for the neutral shades in this, but I want to do a full look with this, especially using the gorgeous green and purple. I do like Huda Beauty's formula in general, and I think this is a very, very pretty palette. Amazing idea for Christmas, for the calendar. I just wish the packaging matched the inside. Now, this was lying around. You are going to see some more Glamlite from me, but this was the one that was sat on top of the pile of my recently used and new in makeup, because I love this one and I reach for it all the time. Glamlite Barbie, and the colour story is absolutely stunning. There's just Something about the tones of the purples that really draws me in. I think the quality of this is fantastic. You do have a lot of choices of depth. You don't have a lot of light shades in this, but I think the colour story overall, the performance of the shadows and the theming, because I love Barbie, 10 out of 10. And then we have this palette, the P. Louise, what is it actually called? Aligning My Future. It does have a working lock and key. And when you open it, it does light up. Can you see the lights in the little star? Very, very pretty. And on the inside, we do have a very pastel palette. I didn't buy the other one that wasn't the pastel, and I'm kind of regretting my decision because I would like to have had both. And I think this is absolutely gorgeous. But the reason I bought this palette was for the other side, which, oh, look at this colour story. It is absolutely stunning. I do have a video where I'm testing this palette and this is just delicious. If you're looking for a good quality pastel palette, this one is really nice. Okay, should we dive into the Makeup Revolution? Because I feel like there's going to be quite a few things that I may declutter within the Makeup Revolution, and it pains me because I am a makeup hoarder, like I say. But we have first up got the Makeup Revolution and Joey palette from the Friends collection. And look at this colour story. I am so impressed with the quality of this palette. Makeup Revolution in general are a very hit or miss formula. I prefer picking up their collabs, which is what you will see a lot of in my collection. The collabs that they do with like Coraline, the Grinch, the Simpsons and Friends, generally much better than their general eyeshadows, and I was really impressed with this palette, and this one is going nowhere. Okay, this one doesn't have the name on it, but it's the Bat eyeshadow palette, which is a collab with the Simpsons and Makeup Revolution, and it's from the Treehouse of Horror collection, and I do believe they still sell these now and again on Makeup Revolution website and at a discount, and it is a very deep colour story, more on the neutral side, but we do have some blacks. And look, I had to get this. It's the Simpsons, and if there's anything I like, it is when a makeup company bring out a collab with something that I love, and I do feel like this is good quality. Even though it's Makeup Revolution, like I say, I feel like their collabs are a much better quality and formula in general, and I really like this little palette. Then we have the bigger Treehouse of Horror palette, which is called Spooktacular Shadow Palette. I absolutely love this palette. Not only do I love the theming of it, but the colour story inside, it's crazy. It's mad, it's bright, it's colourful. It's not the best quality in the world, but it is good quality. I like the variety of colours, I love the shade names, the theming. Again, this is going nowhere. Then we have the Makeup Revolution and Friends palette. This is the Door palette, I believe. Is that what it's called? It doesn't say the name on it. I wish they had the specific names on it. Now, this is very big and bulky. And when you open it up, there's a lot of dead space in this one. It's very, very neutral. However, this silver shade is absolutely spectacular. This purple was very disappointing. I haven't reached for it in a real long time, so it's really going to pain me to say that I'm going to declutter this one. Then we have two palettes. These are collab palettes with, I struggle to pronounce this name, Lencolol, I believe, and we've got the Sublime Paradise and the Celestial Dreams palettes. These are cute little 9 pans. And the colour stories inside, this one is on the more neutral side, and the Celestial Dreams is a lot more my cup of tea with the colour story, but I don't really reach for them, and I feel like I've got a lot of shadows in my collection that have similar colour stories, so I'm going to be decluttering both of these. Next up, we've got the cheese palettes that Makeup Revolution did. Oh no, I tell a lie, it's I Heart Revolution, which is part of the umbrella of Makeup Revolution and their brands, and I like cheese, okay? What can I say? So I had to pick these palettes up, and I'm not disappointed with the tacky packaging. I absolutely love it. It is very cheese, but the colour story inside doesn't scream cheese to me. And although it's a nice, bright, colourful colour story, I don't reach for this palette as much as I thought I was going to. The quality isn't the best in it. It's okay at best. Some shades are better than others. I'm going to be decluttering this one. So the big cheese is gone, and this is the mini cheese shadow palette, which I did believe was slightly better quality than the big cheese. And this is what it looks like. It is more on the neutral side, but you do have a few pops of colour, and I think I'm actually going to keep hold of this one because I feel like if I do go travelling, I would definitely find it easy to pop this one in my bag. Like I say, it's slightly better quality, it's a nice palette, and it's shaped like a cheese wedge. Then we have these three from I Heart Revolution. We've got the two cookies, and this one is a mint choc chip. The Mint Chalk Chip is probably my favourite out of these three. Even though it's all shimmer, it's so cute and I like the tones of green that are included, and obviously they've got squishy tops and they just look super cute. Like, you either love packaging like this or you hate it, and I quite like it. So I'm definitely going to be keeping the green one. This is the Birthday Cake Cookie Shadow Palette and it is a pretty soft colour story. It's not overly pigmented, it's quite blendable and subtle and pretty, but I don't think I'm going to be keeping hold of this one. And this one is the Chocolate Chip Cookie Shadow Palette, and I haven't reached for this one as much as the Birthday, but looking at the colour story, maybe it's just because I've got so many things in my collection I find it difficult to go back to things. I'm not sure whether I want to keep this one because maybe I would like this a bit more. I might keep this one and see if I use it and see if it survives another declutter. Then we've got the Makeup Revolution SFX Ultimate Face Paint Palette. I did get this for Halloween time and it does still have the plastic on it. I'm keeping the plastic on it because they are very creamy shades. They're not the best quality. I mean, they're nice if you just want a nice cheap face paint type thing for Halloween. I'm definitely going to keep hold of it. It will come in handy and be useful, but if you're looking for an amazing formula for face paint, I don't think this is it, but it's on the affordable side. And I don't have a lot like it in my collection, so I'm going to be keeping this. Oh, it's such a long time ago that I reviewed these palettes. This is when I was still filming in my bedroom and on my phone, and yeah, interesting times. I really did enjoy the quality of these palettes considering the price point. I believe they were about £8 and then they've been on offer for quite a few times that I've seen. Can't get into the packaging. Okay, the packaging is very cheap and tacky on these. It is very cheap plastic, although it looks quite pretty and aesthetically pleasing. It is very cheap and tacky. I prefer the colour story of this one definitely compared to this one. This one is definitely going to be going and it has a pressed glitter. So that one is going. What palette is this called? This is the Sugar Ray. So we're getting rid of Sugar Ray and I don't know whether to keep Ultraviolet. Am I going to be using this? I really do like the colour story. Maybe I'll give this one another chance and again, see if it survives another declutter, but the colour story of this just speaks to me so much more, so I'm going to be keeping this one. Then we've got the Makeup Revolution and Corpse Bride palette. What is this one called? Is that what it's called? Is that just what it's called? Because I know there was two in the collection and there's a butterfly one which I didn't pick up. But look at this palette. The colour story is absolutely beautiful. Like absolutely stunning tones, sort of ghostly and neon. I really, really like this. And the quality of this is really, really nice. I was impressed with this for Makeup Revolution. And I like the theming. I like anything to do with the Corpse Bride. So this is definitely staying. Okay, then we have the I Heart Revolution Pineapple Eyeshadow Palette. I bought this in the summertime when it released and I did think it was a nice tropical colour story. It is beautiful. It's not the best quality and formula, but I quite like the Tasty palettes overall. So I feel like, although this was in my regret video, I did do a makeup regrets video recently and looking back now, if I had the chance to purchase it again, I wouldn't. But now I've got it, I'm going to see if I use it in the summertime. Then we've got the XX Revolution Gold Crush Shadow Palette. And I really, really wanted this. And I'm not quite sure why, because it is very, very neutral. But it is on the gold special side. And I do think it's really pretty. What should I do with this one? I think I'm going to pass this one along because I feel like there are other neutral lovers out there that will appreciate this much more than I do and use at the moment. Then we've got two Makeup Revolutions from the Lion King collection. We've got the smaller palette, which is called Jungle Princess. And that is the colour story. It is quite a nice, pretty colour story. It's not the best quality in the world. It's okay. I really don't like the packaging. I'm going to be passing this one on. And this is the Hakuna Matata palette from Makeup Revolution. These are all Makeup Revolution. I don't know why I keep telling you it. But this colour story is really pretty. Again, am I going to reach for it? Because I have so many things that are like this in my collection and I'm not in love with this formula, but it is super, super nice colour story. I do think it represents the film real nice. Again, not keen on the packaging. I think I'm going to pass this one along as well. What's happening? I don't declutter things and I'm decluttering loads. This is the Makeup Obsession Black is the New Black palette. I can't recommend this palette enough for an amazing, affordable palette to do gorgeous smoky eyes with. This is stunning. You haven't just got light, depth, and shimmer shades. You've got sort of weird tones as well. I really like the shade Mystery, which is down here, and Shadow. They're just a little bit different. I think it's just a really good, affordable palette. The quality is really nice, and I just don't think you can go wrong. I would really recommend this if you're wanting something for a smoky eye. Then we've got two more from Makeup Obsession. We've got Dream with a Vision, and is it Raddy or Rady? Daydream. I don't know. But these have been in my collection for quite a long while now, and this is the colour story of this one. Although it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, the formula is not the best, so I'm going to be passing this one along. And then we have this one. This one is a lot nicer to me, just looking at it now. I do remember really liking that blue when I was first getting into makeup. But thinking back, I haven't actually used this for a really long time, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be in love with the formula as much as I was when I was first trying out makeup, because the first sort of brand I was using was Makeup Revolution, Makeup Obsession, and I was happy with the formula before I'd tried so many other special ones, so it's difficult for me to think, if I want to keep this now, is this going to compare? I might keep hold of this one, but get rid of Dream with a Vision. And then this year, Makeup Revolution did do another collab with The Simpsons, and this is the Summer of Love collection, and I picked up nearly the whole collection, I believe. And these are the two palettes. This is the Lisa palette. It's called the Summer of Love palette. It is on the more neutral side, although the quality of this is really, really nice. I do like the pop of blue. We do have a little bit of purple at the bottom. There isn't really a lot of depth. We do have this deep brown, but that is our only option. It's got a nice little love heart mirror inside. The packaging is super cute. You know I'm not going to be decluttering The Simpsons, don't you? Okay, these are both called Summer of Love Shadow Palette, if I'm not mistaken. Like, am I reading this wrong? Summer of Love, Summer of Love. I don't know, but this is the big one anyway, with, oh, Madge and Homer on the front, and this is the colour story, much more up my street. I really like this colour story. Again, hit and miss with the shades, some are better than others. I do think the formula is quite nice. The packaging is goals because it's The Simpsons, so yeah, they're not going anywhere. Okay, when I was first getting into makeup, I purchased a chocolate vault from Revolution, and these are the chocolate palettes that were inside, and I was really impressed and pleased at the time. I loved the theming. I liked the fact it looks like a chocolate bar and all the different colourways that you could get it in. However, I haven't reached for these for an extremely long time. This is not my favourite formula, and it doesn't fill me with joy like it used to. So we're going to go through them and possibly get rid of quite a lot of these ones, unfortunately. So first up we have the Strawberry Cheesecake. This is what this one looks like. It's a very pretty pink palette, but I'm not going to be reaching for it, so it's going to be going. Then we have the Macaroon palette, which was one of my favourites when I got the vault. But looking at it now, am I going to be reaching for this? Probably not. Then we've got Cranberries and Chocolate, and again, not really my favourite type of colour story, and I really don't reach for this. This is not looking good so far, is it? I think this one's a lemon drizzle. I was going to say meringue, but it's lemon drizzle, and this is the colour story on the inside. I really like this one because of all the yellow tones, but yeah, I don't think I reach for this one either. Then we've got Salted Caramel. This one was my least favourite out of the lot, so this one's definitely going. And then we have S'mores. Oh, gosh, they're so difficult to get into. And that's what this one looks like. Again, definitely going. I think I'm going to declutter all of these. I feel like there's somebody out there that will love these a lot more than what I will. Then we've got three more from the Tasty range. We've got the Avocado palette, and I do prefer these to the chocolate bar palettes in general, and the colour stories are a lot nicer and pleasing for my personal taste. I'm definitely not getting rid of this one. It's full of greens, and the quality, although not my favourite, isn't terrible, so I'm keeping the Avocado. Then we have the Peach. Again, gorgeous colour story. The depth in this, these don't translate on the eye as they do in the pan, which does make me a little sad, so it makes the whole thing quite mid-tone, but I can't get rid of this because it's just so delicious looking. Yeah, the shimmers are a bit crumbly, especially I remember this one being quite crumbly and not easy to work with, but I'm going to be keeping hold of it. And we have the Watermelon, which looks like this. Again, amazing summer colour story, and yeah, I'm going to be keeping all three of these Revolution Tasty palettes. Then we have two very recent ones from the Makeup Revolution and Coraline collection. So we'll start off with the smaller one. What is this one called? I don't think they have the names on them, which is so annoying. Like, if you're going to do a collab and a palette, put the name on it. I don't know, it just looks like this. It looks like the door that Coraline goes through. I love the film Coraline with a passion, and I did do a video on these palettes. And this one opens like a door. I do believe it's called the Door palette. And the colour story of this is beautiful. The formula of this is really, really nice for Makeup Revolution. And I'm definitely keeping it in my collection. I did enjoy working with this one. Then we have a big button shadow palette. I'm so glad that they did something with buttons. That is so amazing. And it slides up like this. And this is the colour story inside. I don't think the shades in this are as pigmented and good as the previous one, but I do think it's a nice formula. You can definitely make some pretty looks with it. Love the theming. I know some people are going to be really irritated looking at it like this because it's sort of like a swirl with all the circles. But yeah, I'm going to let it go because it's Coraline, and I'm going to accept the fact that it is set out like this. And of course, it's going nowhere. Then we have the Beetlejuice collection from Makeup Revolution. Like I say, I do like the collabs that Makeup Revolution do, and look at this palette. Like, the theming of it, the way that it opens like this, the stripes, the fact that all the shades look like little beetles in the pan. I like the colour story. It's not the best that Makeup Revolution have done formula-wise. The pans are really small because they're shaped like beetles, but it is definitely workable. You can make a nice look with this. And of course, it's Beetlejuice themed, so it's staying. And the other palette, what is this actually called? Again, they don't put the name on it. I don't know. But inside, again, gorgeous colour story. I haven't actually used this one yet. I was supposed to be filming a video with it. Life got in the way. I think it's probably going to be similar to the quality in the other Beetlejuice palette and maybe the small Coraline palette. I'm excited to give this one a go, but the colour story is beautiful, theming beautiful, staying. Then we have the Makeup Revolution and Grinch palette. Obviously, it's fluffy. I definitely wanted to pick this one up. It is so, so cute. And on the inside, this is the colour story, and I really did like the look I created with this. I did question the colour story a bit, thinking, why is there purples for the Grinch? But I feel like it gives the palette a bit more versatility. I wish there was more mattes in this, but I like the look I created, and I didn't think it was too difficult to work with. Some of the shimmers are a bit more difficult to pick up than others, but on the whole, I like it. This is the Smoke and Mirrors palette from Revolution Pro, and it's actually a really nice, affordable palette that's got some gorgeous blues. I haven't actually really swatched anything, have I? Am I okay? I think Saz is going to be shouting at me if I don't swatch things, so these are really, really pretty shades. It's a nice, affordable palette, especially if you can get it on offer. It does go on offer quite a lot. There's a whole lot more colourways in this collection if blues aren't your thing, but I do think it's really, really nice for the price. Then we've got the Revolution Pro, what is this? New Neutral palette. This I bought because I wanted, was it a Huda palette? And this is the dupe for it. And I didn't want to spend the money. This is when I was first getting into makeup. I think the colour story is pretty. It's not too neutral, even though it's called New Neutral. It's nice, but I'd never, ever reach for this, so I'm going to be passing it along. Then we've got two of the tin packaging ones from Makeup Revolution, and they are, this is the chilled palette with cannabis sativa, and I'm not keen on the packaging of the tin, I can't lie. Like, it does feel a little bit cheap. And on the inside, the colour story is beautiful. I even liked greens when I was first getting into makeup, so this is why I picked this one up. And I don't think it's a bad palette. I remember it having some press glitters. Yeah, it's got two press glitters, which is very unfortunate because I really dislike press glitters. But it's absolutely beautiful colour story. Not the best quality in the world, but it's definitely workable. And I'm going to keep my hands on this one for now. The other one is the Forever Flawless Birds of Paradise. And look how bright and colourful this is. I don't think I've ever really been a dramatically in love neutral lover ever. Even when I was first getting into makeup, I knew I wanted colour, which is why I wanted this one. Not my favourite formula in the world. And again, press glitters, two press glitters at the top here. And yeah, I don't use those, but I feel like I want to keep hold of this. Then we have the three palettes from Sophie. So the original one, mine has actually got a crack in it. This is probably one of the first palettes that I ever bought when I was getting into makeup, and that was only like just before lockdown type of time that I was interested in buying makeup and watching makeup on YouTube. I don't like the plastic sheet with the names. Any brand that does that, no, no, no. But I really did love this palette, and I thought this was bright, colourful, versatile at the time. and I don't really reach for it now, even though it is a really good formula from Makeup Revolution. But these Soph palettes, I'm just warning you now, are going absolutely nowhere. Soph was actually the first YouTuber I watched, like makeup YouTuber, and she's the one that got me into all of this, so you can blame her. And this is the second one she brought out. This is the Extra Spice. This colour story is a lot more rich, deep. It's just a little bit more impactful than the previous one. Again, really, really nice quality and formula. And then the third that she brought out more recently, I prefer the packaging of this one out of all of the ones she's brought out. I didn't like the mirrored front of the other one. The first one was a little bit plasticky and tacky. This one is beautiful. It's in cardboard. It just feels so much better quality, and the colour story is beautiful, although again it's just like a more intense, bright version of what's already been, and there are a few shades in here that aren't as good, which is the light purple. Which one is this? Yeah, the light purple Lockdown and the blue shimmer called Freight. Yeah, they're not great quality. The rest of them are quite nice. I don't think this palette overall is as good quality as the previous two, but I prefer the colour story of this one. But I love Soph. It's nice memories that she got me into makeup and watching YouTube, so I'm definitely keeping those. Then we have the XX Revolution and Matrix palette. This is the Trinity palette. I didn't want to pick up the other ones in the collection, even though I love The Matrix, one of my favourite films. And oh yes, the name sheet. The name sheet! Please, please brands, stop doing stupid name sheets. We don't want them. Just print the names on the packaging. This colour story is stunning. Is this XX Revolution? Did I say that? It is. But the colour story is amazing. I did do a video on this, and I feel like the quality of this is really, really good. I'm not disappointed that I got this. I do need to reach for it more. Maybe I will. Maybe now I'm scaling my collection down, I'll be able to use the things that I've got a bit more, but I really did like the quality of this palette. Let's pop the name sheet back in. Then we've got the XX Revolution Envy eyeshadow palette. And this is what it looks like on the inside, and you can see why I wanted to buy it. It's got greens in it. It does have a press glitter, which is unfortunate, and it's this one that's the press glitter. These are beautiful shades and really nice, but I don't reach for this. If I'm going to reach for a colour story like this, I've got so many other palettes that I can go to, so I'm going to be passing this one along. It's not going to be staying with me anymore. Sorry, XX Revolution. And this is the XX Extravaganza eyeshadow palette. Again, another giant, huge palette. I don't really reach for giant palettes as much as I used to. I definitely liked them when I was first getting into makeup, but now I like a more smaller curated colour story on the whole. This one is really nice though. If I'm going to be doing a makeup live, which I often do on my channel, and I need bright, colourful rainbow palettes, this could be one of the ones that I would dig out. I mean, it's more likely to be a carnival palette from Be Perfect, but I'm going to keep hold of this, because you never know when you need a giant rainbow palette. Okay, I believe that's all the Makeup Revolution and Makeup Revolution sister brands. Now, I can't promise. There might be things that crop up, but we're going to move on. I've got some e.l.f. shadows here, and first of all, we'll go with the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. I really, really like the colour story of this when it first launched. I do think it's pretty, but I don't know. I don't really reach for it, and now seeing it again, I mean, I could play with it again. It was in my makeup regrets video, and seeing it now, I'm going to give it another chance. Now that I've seen it, I've already bought it. I'm going to see what I can do with it and if I reach for it, because I know that I'm going to want to be decluttering these two small e.l.f. eyeshadows because I don't reach for these. This one has still got the sticker on it because it's never been opened. I don't go for these at all, guys. It's just no. What are these called? The jalapeno and the... I have no idea how to say this one, but these are the colours, and yeah, I'm going to be decluttering both of these. Then we've got the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams palette. I really did like the colour story of this, and the quality is not the best. Like, it's okay, you can make a nice look, but it's just not the best. This shade is really nice though. This is like a frosty, cool, iridescent-y blue. It is pretty, but I feel like I've got more impactful things in my collection. And I don't often do a blue and brown look. Like, it's not one of my go-to that I constantly need. I feel like I'm going to declutter this one. Even though it's affordable, it's okay. I feel like someone else will like it more. Then we have the Profusion Amethyst Gems, which is all pressed glitters, and although it's really pretty, and sometimes I do like pressed glitters, like the ones in the ColourPop Fade Into Hue palette that should be coming up at some point, and you will see, I really like those ones, but on the whole I don't really reach for them, so I'm going to be passing this one along. Okay, next up is going to be one of my favourite indie brands. They are based in Sweden. A lot of their palettes are based on Norse mythology, and we're going to start off with these. I really, really like the quality of all of these palettes. None of these are going to be going anywhere. Love Odin's Eye with a passion. Please do check them out if you haven't and you're interested in indie brands. But this is the first one. This is the Alva 2 Mini Forest palette. And some of the colour stories I like more than others, but the quality of them all is really, really nice. I'm definitely not parting with them. I love collecting Odin's Eye. As you can see, the packaging is gorgeous. The shades are pigmented and blendable. The shimmers are absolutely stunning. I just feel like Odin's Eye really know what they are doing with eyeshadows. Then we've got the Alva 2 Mini Ocean palette, which is more of a blue colour story. Like it's got some blues in there, some nice shimmers. It does have like a pop of an orangey. It's got some sparkle in it. It's a matte, I think, but with sparkle, and we do have a little bit of depth, but the depth in here is the shimmers. So I feel like this would be a comparison palette for me. Companion. I've already lost my mind and we're only into Odin's Eye. Then we've got the Erd palette, which is gorgeous and delicious and deep and grungy, and I really think this is super, super stunning, and I like the purple packaging. It sort of makes the shadows stand out even more. Then we've got the Soulmane 2 palette, which, when I can get into it, looks like this. Stunning colour story. I don't reach for this as much as some of the others from Odin's Eye. I feel like this yellow is very, very powdery, and although it's pretty, I don't know, I don't reach for this as much, and that's a bit of a shock to me, and maybe some of you watching, because I would normally jump on a colour story like this, and that's why I picked it up. Nothing wrong with the quality, absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure why I don't really reach for this one. One of my favourite palettes that has launched this year, the Odin's Eye collab with Angelica Nyqvist. It's the Hella palette. I love Angelica Nyqvist. I think she's fantastic. I love to watch her on YouTube, and this is the palette she created with Odin's Eye, and the colour story is absolutely beautiful. We have depth, light tones. This real light shade up here is gorgeous as an inner corner. We have a multi-chrome down here. We have a bit of a weird plummy shade here with different reflex in it. I love what she did with this. I think it's stunning. Packaging, amazing. Love, love, love. As you can see, I keep all the sleeves and packaging with as many of these as I can, just because I think it is so beautiful, and the artwork and everything that's on it. This is the Norns palette, and this is colour story inside. This is maybe one of the ones I also don't reach for, just because the colour story is a bit random to me. The shades along the bottom here are absolutely beautiful, insanely good, but the mattes that are in this palette, it's just a bit difficult to think of a look, to start off with the mattes and to see what I actually want to do. But the shimmers at the bottom are gorgeous. Like, if I oh, this just feels so soft and smooth and delicious. Look at those shades. Look at those shades, absolutely beautiful. Then we have the Alva 2 palette, which looks like this. This is a lot more bright, colourful. We do have some pastels in here. It's gorgeous. Does this have the pressed glitters? Yes. This has 2 pressed glitters, which makes me a little bit sad. And Odin's Eye don't really do pressed glitters anymore, thankfully. I don't know if it's only this palette that they put pressed glitters into, but stunning colour story. We do have depth. We do have a light blue up here. We have some mid-tones. But yeah, for me, I'd just get rid of the pressed glitters. But again, gorgeous. And then we have the Alva eyeshadow palette. Ugh. I'm struggling to get these open, but that is what this one looks like. Again, I do like neutrals, especially when they're included with yellow. We do have some nice, deep, delicious shades in here. The shimmers are gorgeous. The formula of this, they've elevated their formula since these Alva palettes, and the more that they've brought out and the newer that the palettes are, the more incredible the formula is. So although this is good, the newer ones that you get just knock it out of the park. Then we have the 3 collab palettes that Odin's Eye did with 3 amazing influencers. Now, I did actually sell my 3 palettes, which was a bit crazy, but my gorgeous friend knew I didn't have them in my collection and she wanted me to have them, so she sent me hers, and I am blown away, and I love you very, very much. These are such amazing quality, and I'm so sad that you can't get them anymore. Of course, a limited edition, they can't keep them around forever because obviously they're collab palettes. This was with the Tina from the Fancy Face, and The artwork on the front represents the girls that did the collab, and on the inside they chose the gorgeous colour stories. This one is very bright, colourful, bold. We have some nice depth in here. It's stunning. So that was the hummingbird, and then we do have the red dragon, and this is from Judy. And this is a lot more of a neutral palette, but it's got green in there and a nice bright red. I think it is stunning. And if I was going to be reaching for a neutral palette, this is definitely one that I would reach for. It is so pretty. But my favourite out of the three is this one. It's the Giant Wolves from Annette, from Annette's Makeup Corner. I love watching Annette. She is a really good YouTuber. And on the inside, the colour story. Look at it. Just look at it. That is absolutely stunning. That is the type of colour story I would want to put together if I was creating a palette. So this is why I like this one best. The colour story just speaks to me the most. Same good quality through all three of those palettes though. Then we have some palettes from the Saga Freya collection. So this one is, what is this one? This one's amazing because it's like a book and you can actually open it like this and like this. I love that. So this is the Freya's Saga palette, and the colour story in here, like this is your more neutrally side, and on the other side you've got a little bit more bright pops of colour. I just think they complement each other super well. I like the theming of it and that it's like a little book. This is the Amber Tears palette, and again, stunning. I love pinks and oranges together, and we've got some like peach, orange, pink. This is a crazy shade. It looks like a zebra. I love it when Odin's eye do crazy zebra shades, and it really makes me not want to swatch them because I want to keep them looking as zebra-like and beautiful as possible. Then we have the Cat's Breath palette, which is probably my favourite out of the Saga Freya collection, because look at this colour story. We have gorgeous greeny, bluey, tealy colours. We have another zebra crazy shade. We have a bright orange and more of a muted pastel orange. I absolutely love this colour story. Then we have some palettes here from Lethal Cosmetics. Lethal Cosmetics are an amazing indie brand in Germany. And what should we start with? We'll start with the smaller one. This is the Roots Pressed Powder palette. Now, all of these shades can be bought individually, and you can create your own palettes on the Lethal Cosmetics website, and they usually have the little holes in the back so that you can pop them out and rearrange them, or just buy these Z palettes for yourself and put your shades in, which means they don't have the shade names printed on the palettes. They usually have them on the outer sleeve if you've bought a pre-made one. Now on the inside of this one, this is the colour story. Beautiful. This is a pre-made one. I have left it how it came and I haven't rearranged the shades. I do think it's pretty, but there's no depth in here for me, and this is definitely a companion palette. This is the One Up palette, which is a fairly recent one from Lethal. I think it was limited edition. I'm not sure if you can get it anymore. It's gaming inspired and it's gorgeous. This is one of the ones that you can't actually pop the shades on the back out. And on the inside, it's very gaming inspired. Like, look at this. Amazing packaging, gorgeous colour story. Some of these shades that are neon are actually like UV shades. The shimmers are spectacular. Now, Lethal Cosmetics is not my favourite ever formula in the entire world. I think they are really, really good, but their formula isn't particularly buildable, like colour on top of colour on top of colour if you're using different colours and starting out with the lightest shade. The mattes are on the more powdery, muted side for my personal preference, and the shimmers can be a little bit crumbly, but on the whole I think it's a really good formula, just not my absolute favourite. Then what is this one? This one is the After Dark palette, and I think Lethal Cosmetics are actually sold on Beauty Bay now if you're wanting to pick anything up. They don't have everything, but they have a lot of things. Now, I stuck the stickers that came with this on the palette, and again, I haven't rearranged my palette. This is a pre-made one. This is how it came. The colour story is beautiful, and on the back you do have the holes that you can poke out if you want to rearrange anything or swap any shades out. But gorgeous colour story. Again, a little bit powdery for the mattes for my personal preference, but really, really nice. This is my favourite palette from Lethal Cosmetics. This is the best formula and colour story by far from what I've seen from them. And again, you can poke the holes on the back if you want to rearrange anything. And this is it the Night Flower? Yeah, the Night Flower Pressed Powder palette. And again, pre-made. I like to buy the pre-made ones. I would like to make my own, but by the time I've added all the multi-chromes I want, it's very expensive on the site. But this is the gorgeous colour story. It is so pretty. The quality of this one is really, really nice, and I like the tones included in this. I think this colour story makes a lot more sense than some of the others that Lethal have put together that you can buy in pre-made palettes. I really like this one. I actually forgot one from Lethal. That is not the end. This is the Lethal is Dead palette, which was a collab between Lethal Cosmetics and Teresa is Dead, and this is what the palette looks like. And on the inside, I really like the colour story of this one. Again, the mattes are on the more muted side. They're not as bold and bright and pigmented as I personally like, but I still think this is a beautiful palette. The shimmers are really, really pretty. Like, look at those shimmers. They are absolutely stunning. Then we have 3 from Shroud Cosmetics, another indie brand, and 2 of them are a collab with Batty Bean, who is on YouTube. These are Halloween releases, and I do believe you can still get hold of both of these. So this is the Creepy Cute palette, and this is what it looks like. It's very, very pastel. You do have a black and a grey, which makes it a little bit different. But I just think the colour story is really, really cute, and the packaging is amazing. Now, the 2 collabs with Batty Bean. These are incredible palettes with incredible quality. This is the first collab that she did, and the colour story is so up my street, it's ridiculous. It is so pretty. And then this is the newest one that she brought out this year, and it is the Halloween, and they work together absolutely stunningly. We have so many murky tones, we have a lot of depth, we have bright pops of colour. I just think aesthetically they look insanely good next to each other. Then some more indie brands. We've got Glamlite Cosmetics, the Silent Night palette, and this is absolutely perfect for Christmas. Hold on, let me get into it. Unfortunately, one of my shades did arrive a little smooshed. This was a present from a friend, and it is so, so stunning. The quality of this is amazing, and I'm definitely going to be using this now it's coming up to Christmas. And yeah, this shade is the one that arrived a little bit smooshed. I did press it back in and it's absolutely fine. It's called Baubles. It is insane. Okay, I'm going to swatch it. It is so, so delicious. Oh, like I'm seeing a lot of green, and I don't know what you're going to be seeing, but to me, looking at it, it's green. Oh, I can't show you on camera just how amazing it is. Then we've got 2 here from Give Me Glow. This is the Juicy Olive. Like, this is a green, delicious dream. Look at the inside of this. This is so, so pretty. I can't even cope. I just want to put it all over my eyes like right now, and I'm not actually wearing any makeup right now. Maybe I could use this. This is just delicious and such nice quality. I really do like Give Me Glow shadows. Then we've got the Pastel Dreams palette. Oh, and this, if you are into pastels, look at it. Look how gorgeous this is. Like, yes, it's not got any depth, but it's a pastel palette. Like, what are you wanting? I remember using this in the summer and being so, so impressed. It's delicious. It's gorgeous. Such good quality. You will have noticed I haven't decluttered anything for quite a long while, and that's because I absolutely love indie brand makeup, and on the whole it's the favourites in my collection, so I'm probably not going to be decluttering probably any of my indie brand eyeshadows because on the whole, all the ones that I've got, I absolutely love with a passion. Now, next up, we've got a lot of Klarity Kosmetics. I do have a code with them. I do have a code with some of these brands. So if I do, it will, of course, be linked in the description box if you want to shop through them. Some are affiliated. So thank you for supporting my channel. It really does help me if you do use that. And first up, we've got the Carnival palette. Now, I'm not sure if this is now discontinued from Klarity, but such a beautiful colour story. I like the big pans in this. Really, really nice quality from Klarity. I know it's not everybody's favourite, but I really enjoy Klarity Kosmetics and their formula, and I like it because it's bright, pigmented, the shimmers go on beautifully. And next up we've got Cobra. Again, another green palette. Yes, I am obsessed with green eyeshadow. I have a problem. Look at this colour story. So, so pretty. I like that it's not just totally monochrome as well. You can go more blue leaning, you can go more green leaning, or combine the two. But again, really nice quality. Then we have the Bloom palette. Oh, this colour story. Look at it. Oh, I love these huge pan sizes. I know not everybody will, but I just think it adds to the whole experience. Like, it's not just about the eyeshadows for me and how they perform. I like the packaging, the whole theming of everything, just how it's all put together. And the shade names are hilarious in these palettes, and I can't remember which one it was that made me laugh the most, but this is a stunning palette, would definitely recommend. And then we have So Mermazing. Again, another pastel. Look, I like pastel palettes. If you don't like pastels, you're probably not going to like this one, but I absolutely love it. Such a pretty colour story. Oh. And like this shade here is like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's like a bit of a duochrome, and it's like a pink to a sort of tealy colour. And this one as well looks a bit of a duochrome. Now I'm looking at it from the angle that I am, but again, another stunning palette. I really do like Klarity Cosmetics. I missed one from Give Me Glow, and this is because my collection isn't all together, unfortunately. I'm hoping after this and my declutter, I will be able to actually keep all the palettes that are from each brand together on my shelves. So this is the Bad Witch Club palette. This is so good. Like, the theming, the packaging, the quality, the fact I can't get it open. Here we are. Look at this. If there's anything I love as much as green eyeshadow, it's blur pulls, and these are pigmented, blendable, impactful. It doesn't go super duper light, but I'm not mad at it, and I think it is gorgeous. This one is definitely a jewel in my collection. Then we have some from Arttitude Cosmetics. I am a brand ambassador for Arttitude Cosmetics, and I do have a code with them that's not affiliated if you want to check anything out on their website. But the first palette they launched, was it the Colour Splash? No, I think it was the VIP. I'm not sure you can get this anymore, but inside, the colour story is a really nice sort of neutral but warm tone colour story. Really, really pretty. Good quality, but I feel like the more palettes that she brings out, the better it gets. This is the Colour Splash palette, and I'm not sure if you can get this anymore. I can't remember, but I remember using this, and it's not the hugest rainbow palette in the world, which made me very happy. It doesn't take up too much room on my desk when I'm doing a look, and again, the quality is super nice. But maybe my favourite that the brand has come out with so far is the Phoenix palette. Oh, now this one is special, and the multi-chromes and duochromes in this, absolutely phenomenal. Like, look at this colour story. This is definitely a Phoenix colour story. The nice yellows, the orangey tones, the warm sort of red, bricky reds. We've got a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of green. We've got a black. It is stunning, but I will swatch my favourite two shades for you. So I've just swatched Dreams and Phoenix, which I like the multi-chromes in the palette, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do these justice because it's really difficult to capture on camera. Okay, to me this one is looking very green and this one is looking very red. Like, how mad is that? Now, a few of these palettes have been gifted to me in PR in this collection, and I'll try and remember to tell you when they are. This one was gifted to me in PR, but the other two I did by myself. Then we've got three here from Lois Cosmetics, another indie brand, and we'll start out with the Rose Metal palette, which was kindly gifted to me by a friend that was no longer using it because you can't actually get this one anymore, which is such a shame because it's stunning. I feel like this is a perfect palette for, like, if you were going to a wedding or even if you were a bride. It's absolutely stunning, the colour story. It's so delicate and pretty, and if this is your thing, it is good quality, but like I say, you can't get it anymore, which is a shame. Really nice quality, and a bit sad you can't get it anymore. Then we've got the Gone Rogue palette. I'm not sure if this one is still available either. I can't really remember if she discontinued it, but Gone Rogue by Lois Cosmetics, very bright, very crazy, very in your face. It doesn't go as light as I would personally want, but if you're wanting sort of deeper rainbowy colours, this is stunning. Again, yeah, I can't remember if you can get hold of it anymore, but really nice. Then we've got the one that really put Lois Cosmetics on the map. This is Meet Me in the Underworld. The theming of this is amazing. The whole story of it did come with the story on a little card that explains about how it's been themed. The packaging is amazing, the artwork, and the colour story inside blew everybody's mind, and this kept selling out. I was very lucky to get my hands on this on the first launch. I did do a video on this one. I really like the combination of the sort of raspberry tones with the greens and then the gold, and it's just a little bit different. You don't see this colour story every day, and it is on the darker, sort of more dramatic, murkier side, which I really like. I feel like the quality of this one is really, really good. I had no issues with this one whatsoever. So then the most recent palette that Lois came out with is Meet Me at Midnight, and everybody was like, okay, it's going to be the same great quality as Meet Me in the Underworld. I don't personally feel that it is. I think it's a little bit different for me. Some of the mattes are a little bit more difficult to work with. They do take a little bit more packing on, a little bit more work to blend, but on the whole, it is a really nice palette. I do think there are some similar tones in here that could have been swapped out for something else or even just scaled down a bit, and the Meet Me at Midnight theme and the packaging on the outside, I don't really feel like it's that cohesive. Like, I know a lot of people think this is an amazing colour story for a midnight theme, but for me personally, I would have liked to see a few little changes. Like, everybody's got their different preferences. It's a nice palette. I think it's pretty. I just think that Meet Me in the Underworld is a little bit better quality, and I prefer the colour story of that one over this one. The only thing that I own from Viseart is this Dark Edit palette, and it is super cute, and I've still got swatches on my hand. One moment. Okay, that was interesting. They're gone now, but I'm a little bit glittery, just ignore my hands. But yeah, the only palette that I own from Viseart, these are quite expensive palettes, especially for the size of them. But if you are traveling and like the bouginess of the packaging and the way that it opens, I love anything that opens like this. I actually really, really like that. I think it's kind of cool. Take the plastic off, and this is the colour story. It is really small pans. And obviously this is the dark edit, which is why the colour story is so deep, but delicious, absolutely delicious. I would like to try more from the brand, but again, really expensive, and it is on the smaller side. And like, when I say expensive, I mean like, that's my personal judgment of it. Like, some people might not think it's expensive, some people might think some of my other things are quite expensive, but yeah, when I say expensive, that's just what I think is expensive. Then we have some from Pat McGrath. Now, I don't really buy a lot of Pat McGrath because that is expensive. This is the Eye Ecstasy Subversive eyeshadow palette, and am I gonna struggle to get this open? This is an all shimmer palette, and I just really wanted to try the brand. So this is the first thing that I got from the brand, and although it's nice, I don't really think it warrants the price tag, if I'm being 100% honest. Please don't hate me, Pat McGrath lovers. Like, it's fine if you absolutely love this. This just didn't blow my socks off like I thought it was going to. Then my friend sent me this one, and I really like it. Like, I do like the packaging of everything. I think it is very bougie. It's super nice. And this one is the, what is this? This is the Celestial Odyssey Luxe Quad. And inside, look at this. I mean, it is a very rich toned palette. This is really good quality for a quad. That is undeniable. And if you're just wanting a quick, easy, neutral look, it is absolutely perfect. And then this is the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey. Now, I bought this when it was on a real big discount on Pat's website, and I'm like, wow, look at the packaging of this one. We have a lot of shades in this, and the colour story inside is a little bit colourful, considering there are quite a lot of neutral shades. Now, I have swatched this. I may have used 1 or 2 shades out of this. I don't really reach for it. I don't know what it is. I just feel like maybe I need to try the real special shades that she does, because I know that they're not included in these type of palettes. Just for me, full price is a little bit much, even with the absolutely gorgeous packaging. The shadows for me don't warrant the price tag. They are nice, they are good quality, don't get me wrong. I just think it's very expensive for the shadows that you are getting. So I'm back. I'm sorry if things have changed and look a little bit different. I needed to change my memory card because I'd been talking for a really long time already and going through a lot of palettes. So I needed to swap out my memory card. Now we're going to be moving on to Glamlite, and I really like Glamlite's formula in general. I just think their customer service is one of the worst I've experienced, which is really, really unfortunate because, like I say, I really do like their formula. We'll start out with this one, which is the Michaela Glamlite palette. This was the first one that she did, the first collab, and you do have these like sparkles that shift, which is really pretty, and the colour story on the inside is beautiful. I really like the tones included in this. It's a gorgeous sort of summery deliciousness with some neutrals, and I do appreciate that we've got depth in this as well. The shimmers are very putty-like. It is stunning, but yeah, rubbish customer service. Then we've got like the food themed makeup. We have here the pizza slice from Glamlite. I'm sorry, but the packaging of this is amazing, and I love that it's food themed, and a lot of their palettes are. This is the Veggie Lovers pizza slice, and this is what the inside looks like. Obviously it's got gorgeous greens, which is why I've been lusting after it for so long, and I'm super happy I've now got it in my collection. Then we've got the two taco palettes here. We've got the Street Taco palette, which I used recently, and I did do kind of a neutral look with this, but then with a pop of green in the inner corner, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's super cute. I love the fact that it's like a taco. You're either going to love or hate this packaging, but I think it is really nice and super cute. I absolutely love tacos. Look, you already saw my cheese palette. What can I say? Then we've got the bigger one here, which I'm still yet to use. My lovely friend did give this to me out of her collection when she was decluttering it, because she knew how much I wanted this and how long I'd been after it. But look at this one as well. Oh, I love the colour story, love the packaging, theming, ace. Then I did pick up one of the, was it like an alcohol cocktail collection thing that Glamlite did, and I got the green one, which is the Dirty Martini. I would like all of these, but I'm not going to be ordering from the Glamlite website in future. But look at this colour story. Look, you're going to see a theme here. I love to collect green eyeshadows. Have I got some shades that are the same in different formulas, different palettes, different brands? Yes. But I love green eyeshadow. It just makes me so happy, and this palette is super beautiful. This is probably one of my favourites from Glamlite. This is the Frosted Flakes palette, and I really like that this came in a cereal box. Amazing theming, I do have to say, and the colour story inside is lovely. It's not too monochromatic because you can go orange, you can go blue, there's a lot of depth in here. You can combine the two. I just think the theming of this one and the colour story and even the packaging, I like everything about this. I absolutely love. The quality of this one is fab. Then we have the two Scooby-Doo palettes, which is why I don't particularly like the Glamlite customer service. You can check out the video where I'm explaining all of that when I'm testing these palettes, but I'll show you when I get them out of the packaging. So this one is the Creeps and Crawls palette. I love the soft touch packaging, love the design. I really like Scooby-Doo, really good nostalgia. The colour story is nice. It does remind me of the Klarity Kosmetics Bloom palette that I showed you earlier. So I don't think it's the most unique colour story, but I think it's really pretty. I am sad that they didn't include shade names in this. Like, I don't know if there was a copyright issue or the reason that they didn't, but I think it would have just elevated it even more. The shimmers in this are amazing. The shimmers in these two palettes are the best from Glamlite I have tried. So I really do enjoy this palette. And the next one is the Ruh-Roh Raggy palette, and this is the colour story of this one. I think I prefer this one slightly more. It does kind of remind me of the Klarity Kosmetics Cobra palette. Not exactly the same. In the video that I was testing these, I did compare them and do a few swatches. So if you're interested in that, do check that video out. But again, packaging really nice, colour story beautiful. The shimmers in these, so good. Okay, then we're going to be diving into some ColourPop. Now, I have quite a lot of ColourPop, and I really do like their formula, their colour stories. They bring out a lot of makeup, like maybe a little bit too much makeup, but everything that I have tried from them, I have enjoyed, bar maybe one palette that really, let me start with that one and show you. It's one of the more recent ones. It's the ColourPop and Hocus Pocus 2 palette. I think the packaging of this is stunning. I didn't pick up the other two palettes that they've done with Hocus Pocus previously because the colour stories didn't speak to me as much as this one, and I think the packaging of this is absolute goals. And the inside, colour story, like I say, so beautiful. I really wanted to pick this one up because it is stunning, it's vibrant, it's got purples, it's got your greens, it's got some oranges, it's got depth, it's got light shimmery shades. But it really spoiled it for me because this shade is ridiculously hardly pressed. I'm not sure if all the palettes are the same, but this one is so lackluster. I've got Makeup Revolution shadows that are 10 times better than this one. And this was one of the shades I was really excited for this palette, and it just really let me down. And like, it feels really hard pressed and hard panned already, and to try and really get my finger in, like, I've got some payoff there, but to try and translate that on the eye is extremely difficult. So I was very let down by that, but everything else about this palette is super beautiful, but that shade really just sticks in my mind as being a dud shade. And that is called the All Hallows Eve palette, but I'm just so sad because the packaging's so pretty. Also, I really can't see myself decluttering any ColourPop because, like I say, in general, I really love the quality, but I'm definitely going to go through and show you everything that I've got. Then we've got the Limoncello palette. Oh, there's something about this colour story. Now, this does have neutrals in it, and I'm not opposed to neutrals. I just don't really love them as much as I do bright colour. But in here, we haven't just got neutrals. We've got more yellow leaning tones. We've got a blue. This sort of shimmery, grungy, greeny, delicious shade is also a really welcome addition to this colour story for me. I really like this palette. I can go sort of neutral if I want to with a pop of colour, or I can actually make it quite dramatic with the depth that's in here and the colours, and this one is one of my favourites. Then we have the Truly Madly Deeply, a really pretty colour story. Like, that is so aesthetically pleasing to look at. It is a little bit more on the neutral side, but again, you do have some depth. You have some very pretty tones in here, some toppery shades, super cute. Now this one, the Avatar The Last Airbender palette. They did bring this back. I'm not sure if it's still in stock or if it's gone again. I hope they keep restocking this because I love this palette. This is definitely one of the best ColourPop have done, and this palette is the reason I started watching Avatar and the Last Airbender series, which I loved. I can't recommend that series enough. Like, I'm not a kid. I watched that and I really, really enjoyed it. I think the characters and how it's written and everything, and I'm so glad that they did a collab with ColourPop, and I really like how they translated the story and the characters and the colours into this palette. I think they did it really well. This really nice deep shade is so good, and it deepens up a lot of the other shades in the palette. Even though it's a little bit green leaning, you can still use it to deepen up the other shades in the palette. Absolutely beautiful, packaging amazing, and yeah, I absolutely love the series. Then we've got the ColourPop Fade Into Hue, which is one of my favourite rainbow palettes. Like, if someone's looking for a rainbow palette, this will always be one that is on my radar to recommend. I think it's amazing quality. I like, when I can get it open, the variety of shades in this. It is so stunning. The mattes are so pigmented, blendable, delicious, and the pressed glitters that are included in this are actually good. Like, I am not a pressed glitter lover. I in fact hate them with a passion, but these are the only ones that I really like to use. And I'm talking about this one here, and this one here. And if you kind of just, this one's my favourite, Lucky Charm, if you dab your finger into it, you can kind of just like add a little bit of sparkle to any look, and it just kind of sticks. You don't really need glitter glue unless you want it to be super duper opaque, but it is so stunning and I love everything about this palette. Then we've got the It's All Good palette, and the colour story of this one, again, super, super pretty. This is one of the bigger ones that I've got from ColourPop. Maybe it's the biggest one I've got from ColourPop, now I'm thinking about it. But I really like this colour story. It's very warm leaning. We have some neutrals in here, some delicious raspberry berry tones, yellows, and super nice quality again, although it does have a press glitter here, and this press glitter and the other press glitters that ColourPop do aren't the same as the ones in Fade Into Hue. So yeah, I'm not happy about this press glitter, but the rest of it is gorgeous. Then we've got two cute little quads from the Hello Kitty collection, and we have the yellow one here. What is this called? Pineapple Cake. And it is super cute. These are so pigmented. I am really impressed with these little quads. I do wish one of the shades was a little bit on the darker side, but you can definitely pair this with something else. But the quality, fantastic. This one is the Cocoa Cutie. This one does have a little bit more depth, I'd say. Doesn't go super deep, but I love the shades that are included. Again, amazing quality. These are going nowhere. Then we have 4 in the plastic packaging, so I'm just going to do them together. We've got Just My Look, Aura Out, Inner Trance, and Mint to Be. So I'll open these and show you. As you can see, 3 of them are more green leaning and 1 of them purple, and that is me in to a T with eyeshadow. Greens and purples are my absolute jam. And that is what the green one looks like. What was that called again? Just My Look. I really do like these. They're not my favourite ColourPop formula, but they are very good quality, I would say. And they're super, super pretty. And as you can see, if you pair these two together, they would work beautifully together, even with this mint one. And then the Inner Trance. Like, look at those colour stories. Absolutely stunning. Like I say, not the best quality that ColourPop have done, but it's not bad quality either. And I really do like this one. Although it's very monochromatic, I just feel like the mintiness of it is so pretty. We do have a press glitter in this one, and I believe that one is a press glitter also. So again, beware when you're buying from ColourPop. There can be press glitters, and if you're not a fan, just double check. This is one of my favourite palettes from ColourPop as well. This is excellent quality. Unfortunately, they've discontinued it. I really hope they bring it back. This is the Into the Limelight palette, and it was one of my favourites of the year, and it is stunning. The greens in this are gorgeous, especially this one. This is my absolute favourite green shimmer I think that ColourPop have done. Look at that deliciousness. I'm sorry, but you can see why I like it, and we do have a little bit of depth and a really nice light shade here. I just love this palette. Then we're getting more into the cardboard packaging, which I actually prefer from ColourPop. I think it feels and looks a lot nicer than the plastic packaging. So we'll start off with the Fine Feathered palette. This is the colour story. Super nice, rich, delicious, deep tones. Nice quality, not the absolute best that ColourPop have done, but I really do enjoy this. Super pretty raspberry colours. Little ray of sunshine, obviously more of a yellow story here, but we still have depth, which is what I really, really like. And I'd be interested to compare this to the C3PO. Where is it? Looking at them, this is the C3PO palette and this is the Little Ray of Sunshine. And you would think, oh, they're too similar, I should only keep one. But this is a very matte, this is a very shimmer heavy palette, sorry, and this one is a very matte heavy palette. So I feel like pairing them together, I've got the mattes that I want in this one and the shimmers I want in this one. So I feel like they could be best friends. And then we have High Tide. Look at the packaging of this one. Absolutely beautiful. And I do love a teal. This is such a stunning colour story, and we do have depth, light shades, mid-tones, some really pretty shimmers. Again, not the absolute amazing ColourPop quality, but also not bad either. It is really good quality, nice solid mattes, gorgeous colour story and very monochromatic, and I love it. Then we have some Star Wars themed makeup here to go with my C3PO palette. We do have the Darth Vader palette here. I really like Darth Vader. Like, he's one of my favourite characters in Star Wars, and the colour story of this is gorgeous. I really like this, the depth in it, the red tone. I like the look that I created with this. I would say this is excellent ColourPop quality. So impressed with this one. And then we've got the Mandalorian, the Child palette. Oh, it's got delicious greens in this. I like greens of all different tones and I don't discriminate between greens, and this has got some beautiful ones. Again, depth, light shades. I mean, I don't need to say that every time that there's a palette with that, but you can see why I like it, and it's a cute little 9-pan and it's really good quality. Okay, then I am so impressed with this one. This is the Star Wars palette. Is that what it's actually called? Yeah, it's just called the Star Wars palette. I love the artwork on the inside of this one. I'm glad there's no mirror and we get this gorgeous artwork. I actually have this on a t-shirt and I think it is beautiful. The colour story, amazing, and we do still have some neutrals for neutral lovers out there that also wanted to pick this palette up. Don't know if you can still get hold of this. I feel like they did try and bring it back. I can't remember if it's still there now or not, but absolutely incredible ColourPop quality, and I want to play with it again. Then we've got the All Amethyst palette. Oh, the colour story of this one is an absolute dream. And I think the packaging is beautiful with the little crystally stars. And on the inside, look at this colour story. I'm sorry, but that is so stunning. There's just something about this colour story that I love so much. And there's just nice variety in this. We've got depth, we've got light tones, we've got mid-tones, and the shimmers that are included, like you do have quite a lot of shimmers in this. You've got 5 shimmers, and I feel like I like all of them, especially this one here that's called Amulet. Now I know a few people that have this palette, their shades are a little bit harder pressed, and my palette is absolutely gorgeous. It's not hard pressed at all and it's amazing quality, but I feel like it's hit or miss with this one. So if this one is still available and you're picking it up, do definitely let ColourPop know if it is hard pressed yours and it's not good quality, because mine is definitely amazing quality. Then we have the Tinkerbell palette. Oh, I love anything Disney related or Tinkerbell, Peter Pan, and the colour story of this, of course, we've got more gorgeous greens and some neutrals. Love it. Okay, we're going to start out with Lush Life out of this little pile. This is amazing ColourPop quality. Now, when I saw Angelica Nyqvist's video on this, not only did I like the colour story before that, but seeing the swatches and the looks that she did, I was like, oh, That is one of the palettes that is the amazing ColourPop quality, and she wasn't wrong. It is delicious, gorgeous. If you like this colour story, this is a palette I would definitely recommend from ColourPop. The blues and greens that just complement each other so well, all of the tones in this palette, and I feel like it is quite versatile with the shades they've included. Then we've got the Ménage à Moi palette, and I do love a mauve. I don't know what it is. Like, some people will say this is quite a neutral palette, and it is more on the neutral, I suppose, wearable side. I say that with the bunny ears because I wear all of my colourful makeup, but I do love a mauve, and this is a really nice quality palette. Then we have the ColourPop and Powerpuff Girls palette, because why not? I did enjoy watching Powerpuff Girls growing up, like, and the colour story of this is really cute, and I feel like this one is 10 times better than the Makeup Revolution and Powerpuff Girls collab. This is so much better, and it's actually laid out nicely. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, the palette with the crazy pans, like, that was not it. This is definitely it. I'm really happy that I have that one. Then we've got the Lust for Dust. Again, not the biggest neutral lover, but some neutral palettes just speak to me, and the tones in this one, I can't even tell you. Like, I swatched all this out, and I was so impressed with the tones in this. Like, some of these shimmers, like especially this one that's called Night Lovers. Oh, like, considering how neutral that is, I absolutely love it. Then we've got the Lizzie McGuire palette. This is the What Dreams Are Made Of. Like, Lizzie McGuire wasn't really my thing. Like, I kind of missed out on that type of era, but the colour story is definitely pretty. I really like the packaging, the nice soft touch feel and the details, and the colour story, like I say, I mean, it's got greens in it and purples, so obviously I'm gonna like it. Then we've got the All That palette, and this is amazing quality from ColourPop. If you are looking for a nice red palette, this is the one that I would recommend. It is such good quality. I created a really nice smoky eye with this that was kind of black with sort of red and... Oh, sorry, someone knocked at the door and I can't actually remember what I was saying about this palette, but I really do love this palette. It is good quality. I did do a video on this one recently. This is the Not a Box of Chocolates. Look at the state of my thumb. What is happening here? Yeah, this is the Not a Box of Chocolates palette, and I love the packaging of this. Like, I don't know if it's because it reminds me of a box of chocolates, but these browns are absolutely amazingly pigmented. Blendable, delicious. There's just something about this, like, normally a full-on neutral palette like this would not draw me in, but I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but every time I need to do a quick little neutral look, this is the palette I've been digging out, and I love it. We have one of the little ColourPop quads here. Which one is this? This is the Big Leo Energy quad. I'm not sure if they still do these anymore. I don't know if there was limited edition, but I recently got this. I haven't tried it yet. I know that the formula of this is meant to be absolutely amazing. The quads are meant to be really, really good. So I think this is the first one I have, and I'm excited to try it. And I really like it because we've got a nice yellow here and a nice sort of orangey nude here. So this looks really pretty, and I'm definitely going to be testing this one out. Then we have the Barbie collab, the Malibu Barbie palette. Look, I'm a sucker for Barbie, okay? I loved Barbie growing up, and just look at that colour story. I feel like this is very different to the colour story that is in the Glamlite Barbie palette. This is just a little bit different, and I like it. I like the variety. I'm definitely keeping both of the Barbie palettes. Like, there was no way I was going to be getting rid of either, but this one looks absolutely beautiful. Does it go as deep as I would like? No, we could have had, you know, a little bit of a deeper shade, but I'm not mad at it. It's really cute. Okay, then we have these 5 pans from ColourPop, and I love them, okay? I think they are really good quality. I like look, the green and the blue are probably my favourite in this one, but I also think that the others are good quality as well. The two that I'm going to be getting rid of are these two because they have got a lot of neutrals in them. This is Moon Haze and Neon Gaze. Yeah, although I love the neon that is included, like, the other shades are literally just neutrals. Like, don't tell me it's a neon palette when you've got one neon shade and the rest are neutrals. So I'm going to be passing this one on. And this one is the Moon Haze. Again, a nice neon in the middle and then more neutrals. So I'm going to pass that one on as well. But I love these other ones. I don't even know if they do these anymore, but these are absolutely gorgeous. And I love them, and they're mine. Okay, I forgot a Glamlite palette. It's the ice cream one. Is that what it's actually called? Yeah, the Ice Cream Dream palette. I did try and do all of these together, but like I say, my collection is a bit higgledy-piggledy because obviously I needed to do a little bit of a declutter to create a bit more room so I could keep all my collections together. But this one, look at it. Like, I love pastels, and I feel like some of these are pastel leaning. They're not fully pastel, but the tones of these, it is kind of an ice cream dream. And again, we know that I like Glamlite quality. I think this palette is amazing. Then we're moving on to Nomad Cosmetics, and I love Nomad. They are one of my favourite indie brands, not just because of the colour stories, the packaging, the quality, but also the customer service and the theming behind everything. They base their palettes on destinations, and wherever the destination is, they like to give a donation to whatever that cause is in that area, which I think is amazing. Now, one of my favourite ones, like, I love all of them, but the Whistler Snow Lodge palette, this is what it looks like. Stunning quality and colour story, especially this blue at the bottom. It's like a nice shiny blue, but it's got a pink reflect to it. It's stunning, and I just feel like it's a nice sort of, it is like a snow lodge. I think they did the colour story really, really well, and it's versatile, it's not monochromatic, it's beautiful. Nomad are based in the US, and a lot of indie brands I like are, which means the shipping can be quite expensive, but it's definitely worth it for Nomad. And this is the Fête de Provence palette. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that very poorly. This was a fairly recent one that they brought out, and the colour story of this, so good. I mean, look at it, the yellows next to the purples, it's delicious. I do believe I did a video on this one. This shade in the middle is the star of the show. It is incredible. It's kind of a yellowy greeny deliciousness, and it's super shiny and reflective and gorgeous on the lid. Then we have the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette. Again, another fairly recent one, but this one is so bright and colourful and in your face, and it's got a lot of greens, which is why I love it. This was one of my favourite ones that released this year. Look at the packaging. It's absolutely stunning. And the colour story inside, this is one of their bigger palettes. This size, as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than this one. So they do different sizes. But I'm so glad that they made this one of the larger ones, because I think the colour story is a beautiful tropical rainforest. Like, I was so impressed with this. I've got swatches and a 3-look video with this if you're interested in seeing that, but one of my favourites, Like, I love to keep all the boxes of these ones. I just can't help it because I love Nomad so much, so I do keep the boxes. This is the Paradise Islands palette. Now this, look at the packaging of this. The theming behind all of these palettes. That colour story to me is so stunning. Like, the aesthetic of this, gorgeous. I will say it doesn't have enough depth for me, but I'm not mad at it because they've based this colour story on Paradise Islands and they have done it justice. But as an actual eyeshadow palette, I definitely probably would bring in a deeper shade. Like, I know we have the deeper green and a little bit of a deeper blue here, but I feel like if I was doing an eye look with it now, I would definitely bring in something just a little tad deeper, just to complete my look. But what a colour story. Then we have the Hudson Valley palette from Nomad, and it is absolutely stunning. This is more of a neutral leaning palette, although you do have some nice colour in here. The reds are so rich. I love the sort of grungy green tones. We have 3 shimmers down the middle. I'm glad this is more of a matte heavy palette. The quality of these mattes is outrageously good. Like, outrageously. I would really recommend you trying this one if you're a neutral lover and you want to try Nomad Cosmetics. Then we have the newest one that Nomad released. This is the Santa's Village palette. It was limited edition. I do believe it's sold out now and you can't get it anymore. The packaging is lovely. If I could actually show you it, it's the Northern Lights, and then on the inside this is the colour story. And I really like the colour story. There are only 4 mattes, which I do prefer a matte heavy palette overall, but a lot of people have found issues with the shimmers, me included. I did do a video on this, and I feel like the shimmers are on the toppery side. They're a little bit hard pressed. They're a little bit more difficult to work with, but once you get them on the eye, they are amazing. I would say this is the only one out of my Nomad palettes that is different quality from the others. All of the others, excellent. The shimmers in this, little bit more difficult to work with, but the mattes are great quality in this one. Okay, then we're moving on to Unearthly Cosmetics, formerly known as Alien Cosmetics. They are an indie brand in the US. They are one of my favourites, although I do find some of the palettes are better quality than others, and the consistency of the shadows is not always exactly the same. And they do have very, very expensive shipping, and it's not the fastest to ship. Just trying to give you an overall feel for the brand if you've never heard of them before. We'll start off with the 3 palettes that I got in the mystery box recently from Unearthly Cosmetics. These palettes were designed specifically for the mystery box, which I absolutely love. I do think all of the packaging and all of the artwork on the packaging is amazing from Unearthly Cosmetics, I have to say. This is the Thirst palette, which is more of the red palette. As you can see, they're nice little quads. Really nice. I did do a video on this one. Then we've got the Chilling palette, which looks like this. Super gorgeous colour story there. And then we have the Creepy Crawly palette. Oh, delicious greens and more of a chartreusey yellowy green here. So, so pretty. Then we've got a reformulated and redone, what is this called? Is this the, I feel like I want to call it the Bunnies palette. Why does it not have the name on it? I can't see the name on this. I feel like I want to call it the Bunnies palette. I don't know. But the colour story inside here, we've got some nice pastel shades and a corresponding shimmer for each of the shades. It's really, really pretty, but for me it will be a companion palette because it doesn't have any depth and it's also more mid-tone, even though they are kind of pastel-y. But I really like this palette. Quality of this one is nice. Then we've got the Fairy Frolic palette, which is here. And this is actually still in its box. I'm not sure why I'm keeping all of the boxes for these ones. It'd be a lot quicker and a lot easier for me if I didn't do that. Is that exactly the same? I'll throw away the box because it's exactly the same as the front. Sorry if you can just hear that banging in my bin. But the Fairy Frolic, this is the colour story. I do really like the colour stories that Unearthly use. I think that is what drew me to them, not only for the whole aesthetic and the artwork and design, but the colour stories that are always selected seem to be really, really up my street. They are really pleasing to look at. It's just my cup of tea and my preference. This is more on the deeper side as a palette, but I think it's super pretty. A really nice fall palette, actually. Then we've got the Hauntingly Glamorous. I was after this for the longest time because, as you can see, the artwork is amazing and the colour story inside is so pretty. We have got so much depth and then some sort of weird tones that are put together. Like, I don't often see palettes like this curated like this, and that is what sort of piqued my interest. I think it is absolutely beautiful. Although I will say some of the shades, some of the matte shades aren't as good quality in my opinion as some of the others that I'm going to be talking about. Like, they are workable, they are really good. They're just not the excellent Unearthly quality that I am going to be talking about in some of the others. This is the Not Normal palette, and the colour story of this, like, it still says Alien Cosmetics on this one, but we know that they changed their name, and the colour story of this is so nice. I know it's got neutrals in it, and I know it's not the brightest rainbow palette you've ever seen, but this really makes me happy looking at this colour story. And this is very good quality. Then we've got the In the Dark palette. Now, I've got the original. I believe this was a holiday release, and it was limited edition. Then she brought it back, and she changed one of the shades because the two shades that are the shimmers here and here are apparently too similar, and one of them is now changed for more of a purpley shade. But the colour story of this, obviously it's called In the Dark. It is a deep, dark, matte colour story, and it is a delicious, grungy colour story, and the shimmers in this are amazing. Then I have the Capricorn palette. Now, don't think you can get this anymore. I was one of the lucky ones. There was about 10 on the site and I managed to grab one because I was sad I never knew about Alien Cosmetics or Unearthly Cosmetics when this palette was launched. But the colour story of this, like, obviously we've got nice bright pops of colour. I do like the fact that we do generally have big pan sizes from Unearthly. I think that's really nice, and yeah, you can't get this anymore, but I love it. It's staying in my collection forever. Then we've got the Smells Like Holiday Spirit palette. I think this was another holiday release alongside the In the Dark from, was it last year? And I really like the colour story of this, and the tartan background. I think it is beautiful. I have used this palette and I really enjoyed working with it. I do think it's very good quality. I just don't think you see many palettes with these colour stories and packaging design. It's a little bit different. I think that's why I like them. Okay, my least favourite palette from Unearthly is unfortunately the Leather and Lace. It has beautiful soft touch packaging. I really, really like it. But then, unfortunately, the inside packaging sends my eyes a little bit funny, especially with the colour story that's included inside. And I thought this was going to be a neutral palette for me because it's not just neutral. You can go different ways with colour. You have nice rows that you can sort of follow along if you just want to do more of a monochromatic look, or you can mix it up. We have 3 shimmers, so it is more matte heavy. There is depth. But there's something about this palette, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as good quality to me as the other Unearthly Cosmetics palettes, especially the mattes. I don't know what it is, there's just something about it. I don't know if it's just me because I've seen quite a few other people like this palette, but As much as it's not my favourite, I'm definitely keeping it in my collection. Unearthly is one of those brands that I like to collect and I don't want to declutter. Then we've got the Witching Hour palette. Now, I really like this palette, the colour story and the quality. Look at that. Like if you was ever getting a palette for Halloween, how stunning is that palette? Don't know which ones are available on the website. I know they're having a few issues with shipping at the minute, so they did stop all orders for a while, so I'm not sure when the website's going to be up and running again and what's happening, but if you can ever get your hands on this and you like this colour story, I really enjoy this. I'd say this palette is the best quality from Unearthly. This is the Sleepover palette, and as much as I don't usually reach for an all pink palette or sort of pink leaning, we do have more sort of plummy tones in this. We have depth, and the quality of every shade in this palette is so good. And we have the magnetic pan so you can move it around if you wanted to. I just really love this one. Then we have the Law palette, which looks like this. Again, another stunning colour story, and you can go more neutral, you can go more green or orangey yellow. Beautiful quality. Then we have the Fall Magic palette. Now, as much as I love this and think it's really, really nice, it doesn't feel like the quality that the other Unearthly Cosmetics has. Like, it's still really good quality, but it doesn't feel, when I can get it open, it does not feel the same. Like if someone gave me this palette and said, what brand is this from, and I used it, I wouldn't say Unearthly. The shimmers are very, very softly pressed in this one compared to the other palettes, but I think it is beautiful, especially for fall. Then we have the Strawberry Milkshake palette. Oh, the colour story of this one makes me so happy, and it kind of reminds me of the new Glamlite palette that's come out, the strawberry something, Strawberry Shortcake, which I really do want, but again, I'm not buying from Glamlite's website. This colour story is so pretty. It is a strawberry milkshake. I like the complementing tones together, and we still do have depth. Real nice. And I think this is the last one I have from Unearthly. Who knows when I go through the rest of my collection, but this is the Poison Apple palette. Look at the artwork on this. So stunning. And that's what it looks like inside. Again, really nice quality from Unearthly. Okay, we have two here from Blend Bunny. I don't typically buy from Blend Bunny anymore because, again, bad customer service experiences, which have really put me off, but I do think the quality in these palettes, especially with the mattes, are amazing. We've got the Blends palette here, which looks like this, and it is all matte. So this is an absolutely amazing formula, really stunning rainbow. If you needed an all matte rainbow palette, this is a beautiful option. Then we also have the Surge palette, which is actually the first Blend Bunny palette that I tried, because look at this colour story. What a beautiful palette, especially like we have a neon row, a shimmer row, a deep row. I mean, they all do look quite deep, but they all do correspond to whatever colour that they are next to. So this is the green one, the orange one, the pink one, etc. We have a nice bright poppy row, and then we have the pastel row. However, I will say these shimmers break up on me like no other. I wore these for less than 10 minutes and they were almost gone on my creasy hooded lids. So, and I've tried them different ways. I've tried them with glitter primer, without glitter primer. Look, I can't get these shimmers to work. I know that these have been reformulated now, so I think if you're buying this palette now, they won't be like that. But it makes me really sad that I bought this palette and paid very expensive shipping, and my shimmers, I can't really use them. They just don't last. But the mattes in both of these palettes are really good, and I'll definitely be keeping both. Then we're moving on to some Natasha Denona, which is a bit bougie, a bit expensive. It's not the cheapest brand, is it? But I really do like the quality in general. First of all, we've got the Wenzdae palette, which looks like this inside. And it is more on the neutrally side, but there is still pops of colour in there. You can't argue with Natasha Denona quality. Like, if you like the formula, you will know what I mean. I really enjoy it, especially the creamed powders. I didn't like them originally, but I feel like I've got more used to them now and I kind of know a bit more what I'm doing with them. This is the Retro palette. This is such a nice palette. Oh, the mauvey tones in this, like I do love a mauve. There's just something about that sort of tone, and this is excellent, excellent quality. That's going absolutely nowhere. I'm actually getting rid of all the boxes as I'm going with a lot of these palettes because I'm really fed up of having to open the box first and then the palette. But this is the pastel palette. I was so excited when I saw this release. Like, look at the colours of this packaging. We already have discovered I like a pastel eyeshadow. But if I was reaching for pastels, would I be reaching for this palette? Like, when I tested this, I did feel like some of the shades didn't really translate on the eye like they do in the pan. It's not my favourite Natasha Denona palette. I'm definitely keeping it. There are some beautiful tones in here. Obviously, there's not a lot of depth because it is mainly pastel. We do have a little bit of a deeper shade here, but it doesn't translate that deep on the eye. But beautiful. Then we have the Love palette, which I feel like is that discontinued now. Like if it is, that is such a shame. My husband bought me this and I am in love with this palette. I love the colour story of it. It is beautiful and it's not too monochromatic. It does pull in a few different ways and we do have a little bit of depth. This might be my favourite Natasha Denona palette. This is the Triochrome palette or Triochrome palette, however you want to say it. I love this palette. Like, look at this colour story. We have sort of chartreusey, yellowy green tones. We have some more orangey, peachy tones, and we have gorgeous, delicious purples. Like, I love this palette to death. This is definitely one of my main attractions in my collection. Like, I'd be absolutely gutted if I didn't have this palette any longer. Oh, it's so pretty. And this one is probably my second favourite Natasha Denona palette. This is the Circo Loco palette. Again, I think this was limited edition, which is a shame because she doesn't often do bright colours. So when I saw this one, I'm like, wow, a Natasha Denona palette that actually speaks to my soul. And I wasn't disappointed with this. I think the colour story is beautiful, although a little messy the way it's laid out. I feel like a lot of people struggle with this when they're actually trying to create a look, but a lot of people have rearranged the shades in this to create more of an easy to navigate palette, I'd say. But I don't like to do that because I like to keep them where the shade names are, and I quite like a bit of a challenge when I open a palette. Like, I don't need things laid out for me, so it's super duper easy, but I love this, amazing quality, so glad I have it. Then we have three of the minis. We have got the Mini Xenon palette. Wow, if you want a smoky eye, this is all you need. This is amazing quality. We have one shimmer in the middle and I love this so much. Then we have the Mini Metropolis palette. Gorgeous little neutral palette with a green. Again, this is such a stunning little palette. I mean, it's undeniable, the quality of these palettes, like just so good. Then we have the Mini Crush palette and this is what it looks like. I really like this one as well. I think these are amazing if you're just going travelling or you just want to pop something in your bag, and they are such good quality, fantastic little palettes. I need to collect more of these actually now I think about it. Now I do believe I missed a Glaminatrix palette, and it is the Nocturnal palette, and the packaging of this is lovely, and inside, like, it's a little bit like foamy when you open it. Like, the colour story of this, when this was revealed, everybody was losing their minds, including me. Look at how delicious this colour story is. However, I will say this isn't my favourite formula, unfortunately. I feel like they've reformulated the shimmers. Like, there was having so many issues. Like, there was a few issues with this palette originally, which is such a shame because the colour story is amazing. The packaging is so good. I really like Glaminatrix as a brand, but it's not my favourite formula. Like, I'm not sure which formula I have or if it's been reformulated since or how many times it has since. But as much as I love the colour story, yeah, it's definitely not my favourite formula to work with. You can definitely create beautiful looks with it, but yeah, I think it's a little bit of a shame that the shimmers are a little bit difficult to pick up. They're a little bit chunky. The mattes aren't the best quality that I've got in my collection, but they are good. Then we have some Huda Beauty. We have got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 of the Wild palettes. We've got the Jaguar, Python and Chameleon, and let me open them up so you can see. I haven't actually used this one yet. This was gifted to me from a friend, and so was the Jaguar palette, and I'm so excited to use them because the colour stories are absolutely beautiful. I did buy the Python one myself and I did enjoy using it, although I will say, although these are really nice palettes, like colour story wise, and the quality isn't bad quality, I don't think it's as good quality as the big Huda palette that I have that is the Mercury Retrograde, which we'll come to in a moment. But I do like the colour story and theming of these. I think they were super cute, and the fact that they are more colourful. They're not just nude palettes with a little bit of pinky purples. They're a little bit different, which is why I really like them. So I'm excited to try these two. I did like this one. I don't think it's the best quality in my collection, but it's definitely not going anywhere because it is a real good quality. Not the best, but good. Then we'll get on to the Mercury Retrograde. This was one of my first high-end purchases when I was buying more expensive makeup and, you know, getting a little bit more into it and not just buying Makeup Revolution. It was to do with the packaging, because I have to say I love packaging that looks like this, and the colour story inside. Although we do have a lot of neutrals and they are sort of pinky leaning, we do have so many other beautiful tones in this. Like, this is just such a classic favourite for a lot of people, and it definitely is for me. I really, really like this, and like I say, I do think the quality of this one is definitely better than the smaller palettes that she does. Speaking of the smaller palettes, we have two of the Colour Block palettes here. We have, what are they called? Blue and Green Colour Block Obsessions, and the Orange and Purple. What can I say? I loved the idea of these, the packaging of these, and the colours that was included in these. I feel like they're very complementary colours and they sort of stand out and bright, but I think the quality of these are not good. Like, they're just not. You can make a look with them, but for the price, I just don't think it warrants that sort of price tag. We do have a split pan in here, and we do have a water activated liner. Is it that one? No, it's that one. That's the water activated liner in this one, but I prefer the colour story of this one over this one, so I'm definitely going to keep this one, I think. And I'm going to and ah about this one because, yeah, the quality and the colour story in this just isn't as popping and exciting to me as the other one. And we do again have a split pan, and this was the liner that was included in this one. I think I'm going to declutter this. Okay, we're going to move on to ABH, and we're going to start off with the Riviera palette. I bought this quite a long time ago now. I don't reach for it. It's not my favourite formula, and this is not my favourite colour story, as pretty as it is. I just don't reach for it. Like, I just don't think I'm going to get any use out of it, so I think I'm going to declutter this one and pass it on to someone that can give it some love. Then we have a Mini Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1, and oh, I do love this one. The colour story is so pretty. I never picked up the cherry one, and I really wish I did because that colour story speaks to me as well, but the quality of this was really nice. This is one of the ones that I noticed a massive difference. I got this at the beginning of my makeup journey, and I was like, wow, the quality of this is amazing. Especially the shade in the middle, I really do like. It's kind of a duochrome shade. I'm definitely keeping this one. And then I think I have all of the ABH Norvina collection apart from the very first one. I think that is the case. So we'll start off just in the order that they're in. This is the pink one. This is volume 4. And I will say the quality of these I enjoy. It's not the best in my collection, but I do think it is super pretty. I do like the way that they are put together. Like, there is quite a few neutrals in this, but I think there's 2 pressed glitters as well. Yeah, there's 2 pressed glitters in this one at the bottom. I'm not the biggest fan of pressed glitter, as we have discovered, so I don't really reach for those shades. But I do think this is a very pretty palette, and I don't really want to break up my collection. Like I say, it's not my favourite formula, but it is really, really nice, and I like having this in my collection. Then we've got the newest one, which is the volume 6. I did do a video on this and a lot of swatches when I can open it. This is what this one looks like. I like this one. Look at the depth at the bottom. We have so much variety. It's a shame we have 2 pressed glitters in this. There's not a lot of shimmers. It is quite matte heavy. So to have 2 pressed glitters made me very sad, but I do like the colour story. Even though some of the tones in here are a little similar to one another, it is one of my favourite of these in the collection. Yeah, I think volume 6 could possibly be my favourite. Having said that, I do really love this one. This is the volume 3. Ugh, the beautiful orange. Like, look at this colour story. Oh, it just screams fall. It's not subtle fall. It is a screaming, bright, colourful fall. So obviously I love it. Then we have the volume 2, which looks like this. Again, stunning greens, blues. Oh, it's just delicious. Like, these colour stories obviously speak to me. It is good quality. And then we have volume 5. I really should have done these in order, but oh, I do love a purple. Like, there are a bit too many neutrals in this for me for it to be absolutely perfect, but the purples in this are good enough for me to keep it in my collection. Then we're moving on to Luna Beauty. I really do like Luna Beauty. I think Manny MUA is his brand, and he does a real good job with his packaging and theming. Look at this. Absolutely stunning packaging. This is the Greek Goddess colour palette, and on the inside, I swatched all this out for one of my friends, and I have to say, although it's neutral leaning, it is stunning. The quality is amazing, and I like we've discovered as well, if I like neutrals, I do definitely like yellowy tone neutrals, and I like the fact that we've got this yellow here. I like the fact that we've got a blue, we have depth, light shades. It does pull in a few different ways for being a neutral palette, and the packaging is stunning. Then we're going to move on to, well, should we do the other neutral palette next? This is the Eternal Eclipse. Oh, this one I kept looking at on Beauty Bay until I ended up buying it. Why again have I got the cardboard? Let me just recycle this. Look at the packaging of this one. Absolutely stunning. He knows what he's doing with his packaging. Come on. And then on the inside, again, neutral but a bit different. That's what I like, apart from the Not a Box of Chocolates palette. That is straight up neutral. But this definitely pulls in different directions. I love doing a deep dark smoky eye with this, or just a nice neutral look. This is definitely one that I'd reach for if I wanted some neutrals. I think it's delicious. Then we have some more colourful ones. We have the Strawberry Dream palette here. And again, I have the box for some reason. I'm going to have a lot of recycling. My husband's going to be like, have you been buying more makeup? Oh, the packaging of this one's stunning as well. And then on the inside we have more bright, beautiful tones. And I have to say, this shade, what is it? Blue Diamond. Oh, like, it's worth getting the palette just for this shade. I'm not going to be able to show you just how stunning it is, but I love that palette. Then we have the Moon Spells Volume 1 and 2, and I'm definitely keeping the sleeves that they're in. Let me just move these out of the way. Definitely keeping the sleeves that these are in because I just love the way that these are put together. Like, it's actually like a book on a shelf. I think it's super, super nice, and this is what the outer packaging looks like. You can't get this one anymore. This was limited edition, which is such a shame because the colour story of this one is so beautiful. Then we have the Volume 2. A lot of people didn't really like this one as much because the formulas are slightly different, but I didn't have any problems working with it. I still thought it was real good quality. Which way does it come out? That way. And then this one is a lot more pinky, purple, reddy, but we still have depth and we have beautiful tones in this. And like I say, I didn't have any issues swatching it. I didn't have any issues when I was working with it. I'm not sure if there's been inconsistencies, which is why some people don't like it, or whether it's just more of a preference thing, but I really enjoy it and it's definitely staying in my collection. Moving on to Made by Mitchell. Where to start? Shall we start at the beginning? The two palettes that he released first, and they are still in their cases. I'm not getting rid of these cases. I really do like that he did these. I know some people really don't, but this is the In the Clouds palette, I believe that's what it was called. Am I right? Did I remember correctly? Yes. Head in the Clouds, and I'm not sure why mine is super dirty at the bottom, but I did reach for this a lot when I first got it, and I think it's really nice and really good quality, I have to say. I enjoyed this. I do like the colour story. I think the shades worked beautifully. I'm not mad that I picked this up. Really, really nice. And then the other one, something like Boots on the Ground. Let's see if I've remembered it right. Feet on the Ground. Okay, not Boots on the Ground. Okay, maybe that's more army related, but I really like this one as well because we have so many different greens. It's not like you could think that there's going to be too many browns in this, but I don't feel like that there is, and there's nice pops of yellow. It pulls in a few different ways. It is stunning and very good quality. This is the Mini Mitchell Volume 1, and this is a lot different packaging, a lot smaller. I really like this one. I like the tones that are included. I don't know if I'd really reach for this sort of shade or maybe the browns, but I absolutely love the shade Mermitch and Snow Cone and, what does this say? Appletite. I think it's super cute. I like the pops of colour, and I think this one is really good quality, so I'm definitely keeping that one. Now, let's talk about this palette. This was a regret of mine because I didn't enjoy this as much as the other palettes I've just spoken about. I feel like the quality isn't the same, and the dark blue shade in this matte here is patchy like no other. I have a video testing this, and on that video, no matter what I did, this shade would not go onto my eye. It is one of the worst blues I have ever tried. However, I like the theming and the packaging. I like that it's milk and sort of like you've got the cow theme. I'm sad it didn't come in a cow coloured pouch like with the cow print on it. That would have been amazing, but I don't know. As much as I hate that dark blue, I feel like I want to keep this in my collection. You think I'm crazy, don't you? Look, I paid for all of these with my money. Let me keep what I want to keep. Then we have Where the Mangoes palette, which is one of the newest ones I've picked up from Made by Mitchell. Is it called that? Yeah, Where the Mangoes. And it is, again, bright rainbow colour type palette, and Although it's really pretty, I wasn't blown away by the formula. This for me isn't as good quality as the first few that he released from his brand, which is really, really sad. We do have a nice variety of colours in here, and I really like the shade Jungled. And the other two shimmers are pretty, but I feel like some of the shades, especially Ripped, a little bit hard pressed, a little bit more difficult to work with. Does that say ripped or riped? Ripened. It says ripened. Kerry, get with the game. So I feel like I'm going to declutter this one. I don't feel like I need it in my collection. This one I received in PR from CATKIN Cosmetics, and I'm not sure what this is called. It just says C03 if you're interested in this. I do have a video testing this and a few other products they did send to me very kindly. I love the packaging, like such goals for packaging. It feels quite bougie, very giftable. I actually like the pressed glitter in this one. I know, shock horror. It is a lot more on the neutral side. When I was choosing a palette to test from them, they don't do the most bright in your face colours, and that is their aesthetic, and that's absolutely fine. I did really enjoy working with this though. I feel like I want to keep it because I feel like the shades in this are really, really pretty. I did enjoy it, and I don't actually have that much like this in my collection. Then we've got the only palette that I own from Unicorn Cosmetics, and I wanted this because not only the shape of it is different and funky and weird, I loved the artwork and I can't get into it. On the inside, the colour story is very bright, colourful and delicious. My favourite shade in this is Toucan, which is a bit of more of a different special shade compared to the others. I feel like this is a lot prettier than the others in the palette, but I wasn't blown away with this formula. It wasn't my favourite, and after looking at the colour story and seeing which ones were shimmers, like this blue's a shimmer, the purple and this one here. So the mattes that you're left with, I don't really feel like they correspond together that well, and it's not my favourite formula, so I'm going to be decluttering this one. The only palette I own from Kimchi, this is the Two Queens in One Desert, is that the name? And it is a collab between Kimchi and Naomi Smalls. And on the inside, this is what the colour story looks like. I think this is a nice, fun palette, a really nice colour story. It's not bad quality, it's not my favourite, I have to say, but I definitely want to keep it in my collection. Like I say, it's the only thing I've got from the brand, and I definitely want to play around with it some more and get my use out of it. Okay, we have had another memory card change. So again, sorry if things look a little bit different. I have decided I'm going to declutter both of these. Yes, whilst I have been changing my memory card, the chocolate chip cookie shadow and the mint chocolate chip that we discussed earlier, I have decided I'm going to pass these on to somebody that is going to love them more than me. I think I'm doing pretty well with my declutter. Like, don't be mad at me. Like, it's a difficult thing for me because I really like to keep hold of my collection. I love eyeshadow and it's not the easiest to part with things. I've got so much more to get through. So get another drink, get a biscuit, and we're going to dive into some Kaleidos. So I do have three. Are these the Futurism collection? Yeah, I've got three of the collection here. I wish I had all of them. Like, these are amazing. Not only the packaging, like, this packaging is some of my favourite full stop in eyeshadow. I think they are beautiful. This is the Astro Pink, and the way it's magnetic and the way it opens and the soft touch packaging is stunning. This is the colour story. I am keeping the name sheets because I like to know the names of the shades, but it is very annoying that they're not printed on there. That's the only downside to this packaging, is that the names aren't printed on it, but everything else is absolutely stunning. The colour story of this is super, super beautiful. I'm not sure which ones you can still get and which ones are discontinued now from Kaleidos, but yeah, packaging goals, and I really like the formula of these. I wish they'd bring out some more colourways in these because they are amazing. It's sad that there were so many limited edition ones as well. I don't know why I'm keeping the boxes of these either. Maybe I need to get rid of the boxes. Then we have the Futurism 5, the Electro Turquoise. I'm not sure if you can get this one anymore, but again, packaging goals. This colour story is so, so pretty. Look at that bright orange. It's stunning. We have depth in here. We have a nice light shimmer. Delicious. And then we also have the Sci-Fi Green. I think this is the Futurism 1. I definitely think you can't get this anymore, which is such a shame because this may be my favourite colour story. Like, look at the grungy greens that are in this and the beautiful shiny goldy green shades. And we have a matte black. I think this palette is absolutely stunning. And again, I just can't get over this packaging. This is my favourite type of packaging. Similar to the Game Beauty, where it sort of overlaps and it's magnetic. Gorgeous. Then we have the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette, which does have a magnetic lid that you can fully take off. and it does have a mirror on the other side, but this is what the colour story looks like. I don't know if this is a bit of a regret for me, just formula wise, because I love Kaleidos and I was never planning to declutter any of the Kaleidos things I own. I actually want more. And the colour story of this is absolutely stunning. Like, you do have sort of mossy greeny tones, you've got mint, you've got pinky tones as well, you have got some depth in here. I just feel like the formula isn't my favourite. These two shimmers are very top-alike and a little bit more difficult to pick up. This one is a lot more opaque and absolutely stunning, but the mattes, there's just something powdery and weird about them that's not the same as the other Kaleidos formula in my opinion, but packaging, again, amazing. Kaleidos does some stunning packaging, I have to say, but yeah, this formula is my least favourite that I've tried from Kaleidos. Then of course we have the Club Nebula palette, which is a collab between Kaleidos and Angelica Nyqvist. You can't get this anymore, unfortunately, but again, packaging goals. Inside, the colour story is delicious. I love the deep tones in this, the nice greens. The shimmers in this are spectacular. Let me say, Kaleidos know how to do shimmers. Barring the last palette, the shimmer formula from Kaleidos is actually one of my favourite formulas for shimmers. I think these are absolutely stunning. Then we're going to move on to some Urban Decay. I do have the Urban Decay Moondust palette. I did get this on offer. I'm not sure if this is available still. I believe that it is. I'm not 100% sure. This isn't something I reach for a lot because it's all shimmer, and I don't feel like the shades in this are as special as some of the other all shimmer palettes I've got in my collection. I am going to keep hold of it because I do think it is nice quality, it's nice packaging from the brand, it is good, but it's not my absolute favourite. Then also we have the Wild Greens palette. I did do a video on this and I did rename it the Mild Greens. I love the packaging of this. Urban Decay need to do more funky packaging like this. I love the way it opens and the fact it's magnetic, and then on the inside you do have the Mild Greens. Like, you do have some neutrals as well. This is pretty, and I am really impressed with the look that I came out with. To be honest, it did surprise me. Seeing it in person at first, I thought, uh-oh, this isn't what I was really after, but I did like the look. It was a lot more subtle, a lot more soft, and it adds a little bit more variety to my collection of extremely bright greens. Then we've got the Urban Decay, is this the Born to Run palette? Yes, Born to Run, and I'm not keen on the packaging of this, I have to say. It's not my favourite. Inside, it is more of a neutral type of palette. I feel like the quality of this is fantastic. It is really, really good, but I don't really reach for it because of the colour story. I'm just thinking, I don't really think it has a place in my collection anymore, so I feel like I'm going to pass this on. Then we're going to move on to some Be Perfect. Oh yes, it is that time. We're going to start with the... I feel like I've got another Be Perfect that's not in this pile. Hold. I was indeed correct. I did just grab this one as well. Well remembered, Kerry. This is the Be Perfect Manifest palette, and how many shades does this have? 12 shades, and this is what it looks like inside. I think I did do a video on this, and actually I was blown away by the quality of this. So although the colour story isn't typically what you'd think, for me, I really do like this palette and the quality. Yeah, it does have a pressed glitter here and a pressed glitter here though. Should I hold on to it? I mean, I was really impressed with it. It is stunning. I don't know. It is super pretty, isn't it? I think I'm going to think about this one because I'm not sure what I want to do with that one. Then we have the bigger version. This is the Be Perfect Manifest Dream Big palette, and I wasn't really sure why I got this. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a regret because I haven't really reached for this at all. Like, you can see it's barely touched. I don't know. There was something about the colour story when I first saw it that intrigued me, but seeing it in person, I just don't reach for it because I'm a bit confused by this colour story, but it does have so many different formulas in this. I feel like, I looked at this recently, there's 19 pigmented matte shades, 13 stunning shimmers, a super sparkle shadow and stunning duochrome foils, a matte cream shadow, a shimmer cream shadow, and a shimmer gloss shadow. So I feel like there's a lot of versatility in this palette with the different formulas that are included, and I feel like I want to get some use out of this. So I'm going to hold on to this one. Then we've got the Carnival XL Pro palette. This wasn't the first one I got out of the Carnivals, but I did pick it up because I'd heard great things. The shimmers aren't the best quality in the world. They are nice and they are pretty, but not anything amazing and blow your socks off. The mattes are really good. They're pigmented, blendable. I really do like Be Perfect's formula for mattes. I don't really use the face products that are included in this palette down this side, but I'm definitely keeping this in my collection. My favourite of the Carnivals is the Love Tahiti because I feel like the colour story of this one, because the majority of them are rainbows, this one just speaks to me the most. It's more tropical, more vibrant and bright. The shimmers are pretty, again, not the best in the world, but really nice. Then we've got the Antidote palette, which it was nice to see something a bit different from the Carnivals and an antidote to the Carnival, because obviously we've had rainbow palette after rainbow palette, so this was a nice welcome different type of palette. It is more on the neutrally side. You have got some green tones, some orangey tones, yellows, a lot of neutrals. I really like this. It is on the bigger side, so I don't reach for an awful lot because I like smaller palettes now, but I definitely want to keep it in my collection. And then we have the newest one, the Interstellar, which I was a little bit sad about, to be honest. I know a lot of people really like this colour story and they're really glad that there's more rainbow colours added, but I just feel like, how many more rainbow shades are we going to have? Like, I am pleased that there is greys on one side of the palette because otherwise it's just yet another rainbow, but the quality is really, really good. So it's obviously staying. Now I have got some here from Gourmande Cosmetics. They are a lovely indie brand based in the US, and I do have a code with them if you want to shop through that, and it is affiliated. And some of these palettes I have got in PR and some I have bought for myself. And I'm going to talk you through them and tell you which ones are my favourites and which are my favourite colour stories. We're going to start off with the Galactic Gourmande. I actually helped Christina, the brand owner, put some of the shades in this palette and choose which ones, as well as some people that was also on my live. She joined me in that live and she was asking us for advice of what shades to go in. So I'm very pleased to say that there are some in here that are absolutely amazing. Like, obviously I'm picking the more greeny tones here because that's what I like, but these are super special, gorgeous, delicious shades. And if you want something a little bit different and also in a smaller palette, very, very giftable for somebody if they like super special shimmery multi-chromes and duochromes, that is super pretty. I did get this one in PR. Then we have the Ethereal palette, another all shimmer palette. I got this one in PR also, and I feel like when I can get it open, this one is stunning. There's just so many different shades in here. Like, they are all sort of multi-chrome duochromes again, but they are very, very different to what I've seen in a lot of all shimmer palettes before. Like, I can't remember what my favourite shades in this was. Like, I feel like they're all beautiful, but let's just swatch a few of them. Like, look how beautiful they are. So, so pretty. You're not going to see the duochrome and multi-chrome effects. I do have a video using this palette if you want to see all the swatches, and a lot better lighting than this and a lot better multi-chrome shift than this, but I really do enjoy this palette. That is another gorgeous all shimmer palette. Then we have the Vivacious palette, which is one of the more older ones that Christina had before I even knew of the brand, and I really like the colour story of this. We have depth. I haven't really played around with this a lot, so I can't attest to the actual quality of the shades, but I was really interested to pick this up. I did buy this myself because I was really interested in the colour story. Then we've got the Radioactive palette. Again, this was gifted in PR and it is an all shimmer palette, and again, full of super special shimmery sparkly duochromes. I do have a video on this, again, if you want to see everything swatched out. Absolutely stunning. Then we have the Spectra palette, which was gifted to me. Again, another lovely colour story. I like the bright pop of yellow. I haven't played around with this a lot. I definitely need to, so I can let you know about the formula, but what a pretty colour story, and I like the tones that are included. I just feel like it's very vibrant, but also neutral. This palette is what made me discover the brand. When I saw this for sale, I think I saw it, was it in one of Angelica Nickby's videos, and she was talking about it in new makeup releases, and then I went and investigated on Instagram and came across the brand. This is the Salem Moor palette. I fell in love with the colour story and the packaging of this. This is a collab with Doodles by the Bunny and Gourmande Girls, and I absolutely love the colour story of this. I like that we've got depth, mid-tones, light shades. There's a super special toppery shade down here. The red is vibrant, the black is so pigmented. It works really, really well, but this again is one of the more older ones from Gourmande Girls now. as opposed to the newer one she's come out with. So this is a slightly different formula. I will say Gourmande Girl's newer formula that they are using now is better than this formula in my opinion, but this is still a really good palette. It's a solid palette and I'm glad I've got it in my collection. I did buy that myself, and I think I got this one in Pia. I can't really remember, but this one is the That Time of the Year palette, and what a beautiful time of the year it is to dig this one back out again. The colour story is gorgeous. I like the greens, blues, purples. Super stunning. We've got some really special shimmery shades in here. I like the feels. It's sort of a white shimmery shade with a green in it. This silver is really, really special and shiny, and this one is a little bit of a duochrome type thing going on here because I can definitely see the shift in it. I'm not showing you it that well. But again, another lovely palette. Spooked is my favourite palette from Gourmande Girls by far. Since she's changed the formula, I feel like she's just knocked it out of the park. It has just got even better. This is a collab with Doodles by the Bunny again, and I have to say the colour story is beautiful. You can go very fall, you can go very Halloween-esque. We have depth, we have a nice matte white. I really like that matte white, and we have some duochrome slash multi-chromes in here, as well as just some really nice sparkly metallic looking shimmers, and I love this palette. This was one of my favourites that was released this year, and if I hadn't have got it in PR, I would have been buying this one because it is spectacular, and I'm so excited to see what the brand come out with next, because now she's got this new formula. Then I have one palette from Wenzdae Cosmetics. This is the Blood Moon palette, and I did get some stickers with this, so I did stick them on the back. It's a nice little indie brand. I do believe this is the only palette that they have currently, and I really did like this. I feel like the mattes are nice quality. I feel like this silver shimmer is the standout thing that is in this palette for me. I like the colour story, the theming. It's very on the darker, more gothic-y side of things if you look on their website. And they do seem to have a lot of nice pigment and sparkly things as well if you're into that. I do have a discount code with them if you're interested. That will be in the description box, and it's not affiliated, but what a pretty colour story and theme. Then I got gifted this one in PR. This is the Dreamhouse Cosmetics Midnight Garden palette. This is the first launch from this brand, and I was so excited when the owner reached out to me very kindly and asked if I would like to try this palette, and I said of course. I really like the theming of it, the packaging, and the colour story inside is super pretty. I feel like it'll please a lot of people because it's not too bright and in your face, and it's not too neutral. It's a nice blend between the two, and I think it encapsulates the Midnight Garden theme really, really nicely. I feel like it's a good solid palette. There's nice mattes and nice shimmers. And I do have a video testing this one out. Now, I didn't know about cosmic brushes at the start of this year, and I'm so glad that I came across them because these two palettes are phenomenal quality. UK based indie brand, and we've got the Royal Rose first, and the colour story of this is beautiful. Really, really pretty. The formula is amazing. I can't tell you how much I love the mattes and shimmers in these two palettes. This could be one of my favourite formulas, and it's one of the most affordable. So I was absolutely blown away. But I have to say, out of the two, my favourite is definitely this one by a mile. This was in my favourites of the year, my top 10 palettes. This is the Serenity palette. Like, so many people know about this now, of course, because the colour story is absolutely beautiful. It's so ethereal, and there's just something about it. It's delicious. Every single time I open it and talk about it, I just want to play with it. It is stunning, and I love the looks that I've created with this. I do have a video on this if you want to see swatches and a look, but absolutely stunning. Never going anywhere out of my collection. Then we have the Martine's Diner palette. Now, I'd never tried Martine Cosmetics before, but look at this packaging. Like, considering it's diner-esque, I love what they did, and I was so excited to try the brand, and they are on Beauty Bay. I like the packaging and the theming. I think it's so pretty, and inside the colour story is really nice, and I feel like it does definitely give that diner type of feel. You do have a mirror and you have sort of a diner background. I love this palette for the theming and what it's trying to do. The actual formula is a good formula. I wouldn't say it's my favourite and it is the most special spectacular, but it is really good quality. And I would say if you was umming and ahhing about this palette, I would say it's definitely one to try. Then we have a palette here from Certify, and which one is this called? The Affinity 2 palette. Obviously, I like this for the colour story. I need to play around with it some more. I'm not overly familiar with this formula as of yet, but really what drew me into this was the colour story, because blues and greens, I mean, it's the only thing I own from the brand. Then we have some Juvia's Place. I do have the Rebel Army palette, I do quite like the formula of Juvia's Place, and now that they are sold in Superdrug in the UK, it's a lot more easy to get hold of, which makes me very happy. I do really like the little quads that they do. I think they are very good quality for the price, and this is the mints when I can get it open. So I feel like I wanted both of these to try and pair together, because this has got the light shades that I wanted and this one has got the depth. They're super cute. And then I've got the berries by Juvia's, which that is beautiful. I don't often go out of my way to reach for pink palettes, but that is stunning, and I like the fact it's got depth in this. And then this is the Walhalla 2 palette. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I was so excited to try this. I'd heard amazing things about the brand, but I have to say I wasn't overly impressed with the quality of this palette. I haven't reached for it a lot because my first impressions with this was just not the best. It wasn't my favourite formula, and I do believe, is there a press glitter? Yes, there are 3, by the looks of it, press glitters in this, which makes me a little bit sad, and it's not the type that I like. I do like the colour story of this though, which is why I picked it up, and I feel like I want to hang on to it for a little while longer and see if it survives another declutter, because the colour story is beautiful. Maybe I can make it work for me. I definitely just need to dig it out again and see what I feel about this, because yeah, my first impressions weren't the best. Then we have a lot from BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to warn you now, I'm not getting rid of any, I don't think, because I absolutely love BH Cosmetics. It's such a shame that they had to be bought out by Makeup Revolution, but I'm hoping the same great quality is going to keep travelling through. Like, some of the BH palettes have better quality than others. They're all good quality, but some are amazing. So first we've got the Trendy in Tokyo palette. I have the original. I think this was reformulated and repackaged, but this is the original packaging and original formulation, and it is beautiful, and it has one of the best yellows I have in my collection in this. Super nice. And then we've got the Lost in Los Angeles, an amazing affordable, very affordable pastel palette that is really good quality. It's very difficult to try and find really good pastels that work, and this is amazing. If anyone is asking for a pastel palette with good quality, I would 100% be recommending this one, even over the Natasha Denona pastels. I mean, then we've got Passion in Paris. What a cool story this is. It is beautiful and deep and delicious. I like the fact that we can go different ways with this. It's not monochromatic. It is on the deeper side. You do have some light shades, but it is so beautiful, and that is amazing, amazing BH quality, and so is the Lost in Los Angeles. Los Angeles? Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Then we have the Blueberry Muffin. I really do enjoy this palette also. This is more bluey rather than plummy. I don't like the holographic background, but the shades in this are excellent, excellent quality. I did get one of these palettes from, what collection was this from? I have no idea, but it's called Do Not Disturb, and the palette is actually upside down to the writing. I love the colour story of this one. I do think it is very nice quality. There is a bit of a duochrome in here that's quite special, and I can't remember which one it is now. Yeah, I've got no idea. I can't remember anymore. I'm not going to swatch all of the palettes, but I really like this colour story. Nice, good quality. Not the best in the entire world, but beautiful. 4. Oh, they're not even the right way round, Kerry. What are you doing with your life? Here we go. We have 4 from the Halloween collection that they brought out. I'm not sure if you can get these anymore. We have Ghost Pepper, which is more red leaning, and they're quite monochromatic, obviously. And they do only have 3 mattes in each of these, and they are quite shimmer heavy. So that is what the red one looks like, the Ghost Pepper. Then we have Absinthe, which looks like this. Then we have Sub-Zero, which is the blue. That is so beautiful. And then we have Nightshade, which looks like this. I do think I'm going to be keeping all of those. I do enjoy the quality of those, but some of my favourite palettes from BH are definitely the ice cream palettes. I have all of them apart from the brown neutral one, and I kind of just want to get that one to complete my collection. The collectionist in me definitely wants to get the last one. Let me spread these out a little bit, but these were amazing. They should not have discontinued these. These should not have been limited edition. If you could still get hold of them and they did more things like this, I feel like BH wouldn't have needed to be bought out. Like, this was amazing. The idea, the theming, the colour story. These are very monochromatic palettes also, but I just feel like these are better than these ones because these have the same matte and shimmer ratio, I believe. This is the cherry on top. Obviously a more red leaning palette, but you've got sort of corally tones in there. absolutely amazing quality, and I'm so sad that they're not selling these anymore. If Makeup Revolution have any sense, they will bring these back because these will sell like hotcakes. Or ice creams in this case. Then we have the Bubblegum, which is the blue one. Like I say, you have a row of shimmers and a row of mattes, and they are all amazing quality. I cannot moan at any of these qualities. Love them so very much. And oh, pistachio, one of my favourites, because obviously it's green. Look at this one. So, so delicious. Then we have the Orange Sorbet. Oh, so, so pretty. I need to play with these more, don't I? Yes. Yes, I do. And the Cotton Candy, which looks like this. And this is a little bit less monochromatic because it's pinky and purpley, and I think it is beautiful. I have a confession. This is the BH Miss Claus The Lit List palette, and I bought this last year on a very big discount on Beauty Bay. Like this was around £5-ish. Like it was on an amazing discount just before Christmas, so I thought I'll buy it and use it, and I haven't used it because then Christmas was over and then I didn't want to reach for a Christmas palette. But the packaging of this is beautiful, and the colour story inside is so, so nice. You can see why I wanted it, especially for Christmas, but I'm definitely going to be using it this year. Definitely. And I feel like it's got pressed glitter. Yes, I think the red, unfortunately, is a pressed glitter, which is a little bit sad because, as we know, I don't really like them, but going to be excited to try this and wear this around Christmas time this year. And last but not least from BH, we have the Lunar New Year palette, which I did do a video on. I was excited that they was releasing something else. This is when they've not released anything for a while, and I wanted to see something from them. This was just before they went under, I believe, but the colour story of this one is super nice. It's not the best quality from BH, but it is very good, is what I'll say. And I do like the colour story, so I am going to be keeping it. Okay, then we have like a random pile. So first of all, we've got the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Bright Lights palette, which I still haven't tried because originally the one that I got sent, I'm not even sure if they make this anymore. I didn't get this off a Pinky Rose website. I don't even know if they have it. It was off of a different website that I can't remember now, but I definitely want to try it because I had heard some good things. However, this one has got a lot of pressed glitters that I thought were shimmers. It's got 3 pressed glitters. They had to send me a second one because the first one arrived with 2 of the same shade. I had 2 purples for some reason, and I just haven't got around to using it because it really disappointed me when I opened it and realised that what I thought was shimmers was actually pressed glitters. But I think I'm going to hold on to this to test the quality because I haven't tried it. So it's surviving this declutter, but we shall see. Then the only thing I own and the first thing I tried from Soda Makeup is the Little Mermaid Under the Sea palette. I like the theming of this. I love anything Disney, especially when it's the Little Mermaid. And I think the colour story is beautiful and it does encapsulate the Little Mermaid very, very nicely. I did remember trying this and I think I did a video on it, and it isn't the best formula for the mattes in the world. They are quite creamy and I can't really describe it. It's not my favourite formula, but it's not bad. And there is a pressed glitter, which, again, sad about that. And the shimmers aren't the most spectacular. They are more on the standard side, but because it's the only thing I've got from the brand and I want to try it out some more, I'm going to keep hold of that one. I did pick up some makeup from SheGlam. I did order this on Shein. Do I have 3 palettes? Is there any more? I'm just trying to check. I think I have only 3. Yes, we have the Corpse Bride palette from the most recent Halloween collection that they released. And it is a beautiful sort of lace on the top, but I'm a bit scared it's going to get a bit dirty because, you know, makeup lovers. Colour story is very, very cool toned, greys, blues, silvers, a black. I mean, it's not bad quality, to be honest. I actually quite liked this palette. It's not the best in the world, but it is nice, and I like the theming because I like the Corpse Bride. So I'm going to keep hold of this one. But these 2 are going to be getting decluttered because I've had them for a while now, and when I tried them, I wasn't that impressed. This is the Wild Heart SheGlam Flutter Effect palette, and I bought this because it's on the cheaper side, got it on Shein, and the colour story is pretty, but the formula is not for me. The shimmers are very lackluster. The mattes aren't as pigmented and blendable as I like. I'm definitely decluttering this one. Same for this. This one's a little bit better with the mattes. This is the Hint of Mint palette. Yeah, like I say, mattes and shimmers a little bit better in this one, but still not my absolute favourite, and I really don't reach for it, so that's going to be going as well. I think I got this one in a glossy box. This is the LA Splash Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. What is this called? Does this have a name? I have no idea if this has a name, but This is what it looks like inside. It is on the more neutral side. It does have a nice black and a white, and I do think this is good quality, but I have other things in my collection that I would reach for over this. So I'm going to pass this on to somebody that loves neutrals. Then we have the Lottie London Living My Best Life. Living My Best Life palette. This is a very affordable palette and it is really good quality. It does have some neutral tones and some blues. I never really dig this out and reach for it anymore, but it is the only thing I own from the brand and I do remember really enjoying this, so I'm going to hold on to it for now. Then we have this humongous Too Faced palette. This was limited edition, was it? I believe? I don't know. I don't think you can get it anymore. Too Faced Then and Now palette. I don't know if it's got like shades in it from other palettes. I don't know, but this is what the colour story looks like. It's not something I dig out all the time just because it's so huge, but it's not bad quality and I don't own a lot from Too Faced, so... Actually, now thinking about it, I do have another palette from Too Faced that I could go and grab. But yeah, I'm going to keep hold of this one. I have the Pumpkin Spice Too Faced palette as well, and this one smells amazing. It does smell like... That's very rude. It does smell like pumpkin spice. I liked the colour story. Is it the most impactful, amazing formula in the world? No, but it still makes me very happy looking at the colour story. And the fact it's pumpkin spice and it smells lovely, and like I say, I don't have a lot from the brand, so I'm going to hold on to it for now, see how much I use it before I do another declutter. Unfortunately, I missed one from Urban Decay. This is the Naked Honey palette, and this palette is beautiful because it's not just neutral, it's on the yellowy side, and if I like neutrals, they definitely speak to me more if they're on the yellowy or goldy side, so I'm definitely going to be keeping hold of this one. Then we have one from Peachy Queen Cosmetics. This is the only palette I own from them. It was gifted to me from a lovely friend because I love avocados. And look at the colour story in this. It's absolutely crazy. Look at those two neon shades. It does have a pressed glitter, but that is actually quite a pretty one. And I like the green tones. This is definitely going nowhere. Then I have the W7 Total Eclipse palette, which is a bit of a dupe for the Mercury Retrograde. And I would say it is almost as good quality as the Mercury Retrograde. It's not exactly the same. But if you was looking for a good dupe, this is definitely a good dupe for that and I would recommend it. So I am going to keep it in my collection because maybe I want to keep my Mercury Retrograde looking nice and use this one instead. Stop judging me. Stop judging me. I see your judgy eyes. Then this one I did get in PR from W7. This is the Cool Down palette and it is on the bigger side and it is very neutral. And I did test this out and I was impressed with it, to be honest. The quality of W7 eyeshadows, I mean, can be hit or miss, but I really did enjoy this palette. Do I need to keep it in my collection though? I don't think I need this many browns, and especially on the cool tone side. Maybe I prefer warm tones. I don't know. I don't know whether to keep this one. I'll put it in the maybe pile. Okay, if you absolutely hate Jeffree Star with a passion, which is a lot of people, look away now because I've got quite a few Jeffree Star palettes that I have collected. Some have been gifted to me from friends, some I've picked up secondhand, some I bought brand new. I was definitely a lot more into Jeffree Star before all the controversy came out. So if I do end up buying anything, I don't usually rave about it, shout about it on my channel, but this is a palette collection video, so I am going to be including this part in the video because it is part of my palette collection and I am going to be keeping a hold of them. Some of these cost me a lot of money and I do absolutely love the formula. We don't need to fall out about it. It's just what's in my collection and I'm showing you, and you can skip this part if it's not of interest to you. So with having said that, let's jump into the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star Mini Controversy palette and the colour story. Looking at it now, I don't feel like it's as exciting as it was seeing these shades when they were doing their series together. It is amazing quality though, however. Like, Jeffree Star's formula is one of my favourites, I have to say, which is why I'm keeping these in my collection. Then we have the Conspiracy palette that they did together. This is so big and bulky. I mean, they're not fun to store. They're beautiful works of art, really. If you like that sort of thing, which I definitely do, I like sort of big garish packaging that's a little bit different and out there. I'd never reach for this. I'm keeping this because I enjoyed the series and it was a time in my makeup journey that I really remember and look back on. I don't really use it. I'm not going to be promoting it, shouting about it. I don't think anybody needs to buy it, even if you can buy it anymore. But I'm just keeping it for those reasons, the personal reasons, not anything to do with Jeffree or Shane. Then we have the Blue Blood palette, which looks like this. Obviously a lot of blues. We've got some peachy neutral tones as well. I do enjoy this palette. We also have Blood Money, and I always forget how to open it. Like, do you pull them together or separate them? I can't remember. Help! This is obviously a green lover's dream. It is beautiful. It's got some stunning tones in it. All of the quality throughout all of these palettes, barring maybe one or two, is the same. And I will mention that when I get to those ones. But apart from that, the rest of the ones that I'm showing you, all good, amazing, great quality. Blood Sugar I can never, ever, ever part with. This was my first ever high-end purchase for makeup, and it is sentimental to me and means a lot in my collection. I was so happy to get my hands on it when I bought it, and I like the colour story, the packaging, the theming. I mean, it's not the best about Jeffree Star, but I'm not going to take it out on this palette because I bought this and I love it. Then we have Bloodlust, which is humongous and it's velvety, and this colour story is so nice. And how do I get into this? Here we are. I like that it's not just fully monochromatic. We do have a red in there and a nice sort of deep tealy shade. The tones in here for the purples are absolutely beautiful. I need to dig this out more and use it in my own time because I need to get my use out of them if I'm keeping them in my collection. But like I say, I'm not going to be linking them or anything. Then we have the Thirsty palette, which I got on offer on a very big discount on Beauty Bay, which I was very pleased about. And this, to me, screams like a summer palette because of the tones that are in this. The nice blue reminds me of like summer days by the beach type of colour story. And again, super pretty. My friend kind of gifted me the Cremated palette by Jeffree Star because she knew I liked to complete my collection and I like the shades, but I didn't want to buy it for myself. I just felt it was very expensive for a grey palette. So she did manage to get her hands on this for me and gifted it to me very kindly, and all grey. Have the Jawbreaker palette here, and this, I wasn't as blown away by this formula. I don't feel like, for me personally, this is the same good quality and formula in all of these shades as some of the others, and I don't really know why because so many people did rave about this formula, but it's not my favourite. And again, with these two, Androgyny and Beauty Killer, I don't feel like the quality is the same. Maybe he changed it because I think these were two of his first palettes that he came out with. But I do prefer the shape of these ones and how slim they are. Like, they're a lot easier to store. And I do have the Beauty Killer number 2, which is a little bit thicker than the first one. And I really wanted it for that shade there, obviously. But I do think this is nice quality, not the best in the world compared to his other palettes, but still nice. This is probably my favourite Jeffree Star palette because I love the packaging of this. Some people will absolutely hate it, and that is fine, but for me, this is amazing. And I managed to get my hands on this just before it got discontinued. And the colour story to me is so, so beautiful. The shades are I can't open it. The shades are such good quality. Like, the greens in this, absolutely stunning. I love the whole vibe, the theme. Yeah, definitely my favourite. I also have the Banana Fetish palette because, like I say, if I do like neutrals, generally it's more on the, again, I can't open it, on the yellowy side, and this has beautiful yellow tones as well as some neutrals that are leaning yellow, a nice pop of pink, a nice pop of blue. And I quite like the packaging of this one. It's on the slimmer side. I mean, it's nice. And then we have the Pink Religion palette, which looks like this, and I do like it because it's not fully pink. We do have some other tones in here that lean more red and more purple. Now we're moving on to Melt, and I absolutely love Melt so, so much. So I try and collect as many shadows as I possibly can from them. In general, I do have some limited editions here, and I have recently done a Melt ranking video. So I'm not going to go in depth swatching these, talking about them in great detail and why I like them, because like I say, if you want to know anything specifically about these palettes, you can check out that video that I did very recently with my Melt ranking. So we'll start out with the two Beetlejuice palettes that were limited edition. We have the Waiting Room and Recently Deceased. It'd be helpful if you could actually see them and I wasn't just tilting them toward me so I could read them. This is the Waiting Room, and I just like what they did with this. I think it's an amazing limited edition collab that they did. I'm sad that they can't bring it back. I like the fact it's got a white and a black, and I like the red tones. Then we have the Recently Deceased, which is a little bit more up my alley colour story wise because it's purple and green. Some of the shades are a little bit similar in there to each other, but I do overall think it is a really nice palette and amazing quality shadows. Then we have last year's holiday release from Melt. This was the Amore Mariposas palette from that collection. I did pick up a few bits from the collection, and this is what the palette looks like. It's also upside down. This is what the palette looks like. It's different from Melt because they don't usually do palettes this shape or size. It is a little bit more weighty, this one. And inside the colour story, I think it is absolutely beautiful. Some people have likened this to the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette, to which I have done a video comparing them both and doing a look, one on each eye, so you can check that out if you want to see if this is like the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay. But I love the sparkly orange shimmer. I like the minty greeny tones at the top. I like the fact we've got depth. I do feel like there's a few similar shades in here that could have been a bit swapped out. Like these neutrally shades didn't all have to be so similar maybe. And the small circular pans compared to what they normally do isn't my favourite, but overall I do really like this palette. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be getting rid of any Melt because, like I say, it's one brand that I do collect from and I really do enjoy them. This is the She's in Parties, which is on the mauvey side of things. It is absolutely stunning, such a good quality palette. And we also have Radioactive, which I believe was limited edition and you can't get anymore. So vibrant with the neon tones in that. Then we've got the Blueprint palette, which is blue and neutral, and I feel like, yeah, this one only has 2 mattes, which is a little bit sad and disappointing because I like a matte heavy palette in general, but that's that one. Then we've got the Smoke Sessions palette, which is also, again, very, very shimmer heavy. There's only 2 deep mattes in this, so it would be a companion palette for me. We have the Rust palette. Although neutral, it does have a very beautiful yellowy toned neutrals in this. Absolutely stunning. And then we have the Gemini one. Oh guys, look at this deep, delicious, grungy green and yellowy neutral colour story. Absolutely beautiful. And then we have Gemini 2. I'm not sure why I've got the box for this one and not the box for the other one. Maybe I should get rid of that. I've got so much recycling, honestly. This is the Gemini 2 that they brought out. Not sure if this one's still available. I think you can get Gemini 1 again now, and you can get hold of this one. I do believe they were on Beauty Bay, and I think this one pairs? Sound like Cilla Black. This one pairs definitely beautifully with the Gemini 1. Then we have the Mary Jane palette, which has got stunning soft touch packaging. I literally can't talk anymore. I've been talking for a very long time. I really do like the packaging of this one. Super pretty. The mattes in this are amazing quality, such standout mattes. Really nice if you're wanting some neutrals. The shimmers are pretty. Not the best in the entire world, but very nice. Then we have the Millennial Pinks, which wasn't my favourite quality from Melt, I have to say. It's one of the lackluster ones, matte wise, definitely. The shimmers are okay, but yeah, the mattes are a little bit lacking for me. They're not as good as the quality from some of the other palettes, but very pretty colour story and very pretty packaging. Then we've got the 420 palette, which the packaging is sort of, what's that word? Holographic, that's the one. And it is a little bit sharp on the edges, but it is pretty looking. A lot of people didn't like the quality of this. I have to say it's not my favourite quality from Melt, but it is a gorgeous colour story and I do still quite like to use it. Then we've got 2 of my favourite palettes in my whole collection. These were limited edition. I don't think you can get them anymore. They did bring Myrte back, which was amazing. They do make a skull and they are magnetic when you put them together, unless you bought the new version of Myrte, and then I don't think that actually works. But I'll show you the colour stories of these. Vida is so stunning. I mean, look at this colour story. I'm in love with the greens in this palette and the oranges. And then here we have Myrte, amazing Melt quality. Amazing. I can't say what the new formulation or the one that they brought back was like, or if they changed anything else apart from the magneticness. The magnetism, that's the one. But absolutely stunning quality and amazing colour stories. Then we're moving on to Ace Beauté. Now I have one palette from their old formula, which makes me sad that they reformulated, and I do not want to buy the new one because they're not on Beauty Bay anymore and it's very expensive shipping to the UK. But this is the Oceanic palette and the colour story is so perfect. I absolutely fell in love with this colour story, and it does make me a little bit sad that I haven't got this in the new formulation. But overall, I still enjoy it. It's not my favourite formula and I can see why they changed it, but still a really pretty palette. Then we've got the Tropical Vibes, which is the new formulation, and it is amazing quality, I do have to say. It is so, so pretty. This is definitely not going anywhere. Ace Beauté, now they've changed the formula, have one of my favourite formulas out of a lot of shadows, to be honest. The mattes are so good, such good quality. I like the variety that's in this palette, even though it is more or less green. This is stunning. Palettopoli, absolutely amazing. I love the game that came with this, the theming behind it, so, so clever. I have a video on this if you haven't seen what it's all about and you want to check it out. But I feel like the colour story of this is super pretty. You can go in so many different ways. I like the way that they've laid it out in different rows. It's pigmented, it's delicious. The shimmers are more on the putty side, so if that's not something you like, you might not like that formula. But overall, I really enjoy this palette and I really enjoy the game. I need to play it again. Then we have two MAC eyeshadow palettes. These are from the Stranger Things collab that they did. I never tried MAC eyeshadows before this, and I have to say I'm very disappointed. Am I going to be decluttering these? No, because I'm a massive Stranger Things fan. But look at the packaging of this. I mean, which one is this one called? This is the Void eyeshadow palette. I'm not in love with the colour stories that they chose. And the quality of the shadows for MAC prices and, you know, reputation, I'm sorry, but I did not enjoy the formula or quality, to be honest. The best thing about this is the packaging and the fact it's a collab with Stranger Things. So I'm definitely going to be keeping these because I absolutely love Stranger Things. This is the Hawkins Class of 1986 eyeshadow palette. I absolutely love the theming of this. Oh, it's like the yearbook. It's so, so cute. But again, not in love with the colour story. I don't think it's the easiest to work with. And again, pigmentation, not the best. The shimmers are very lackluster. They need to up their game. They can do amazing packaging like this, but their eyeshadows are poop. I'm sorry if you love MAC eyeshadow. I just want to say that now. To me, they are poop. To me. The only thing I have from Sugarpill Cosmetics, this is the capsule. Which number is this? I don't actually think it tells me on it, but it's the orange one. It's the orange one. I was really excited to try this because, like I say, I like funky packaging. This is definitely funky. You can get away with this one as a blush. I think it is supposed to be a blush, but again, you can use it as eyeshadow. I really like the green shimmer here. I mean, it is a little bit weird and different, and that's why I wanted it, but it is also slightly annoying that some shades are bigger than others. Kinda. You know? I would have liked to have collected more in this collection, but they're not the easiest to get hold of in the UK. Then we have some Sigma. I have a secret obsession with Sigma. Like, I know what you're thinking. They are more on the neutral side. I know, but I don't know what's happening. I love these palettes. This is the Sigma Cor de Rosa. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but this palette is amazing. I love the quality of Sigma shadows. And I love the colour stories. Like, you wouldn't normally think that this is what I'd be going for. I know, I'm feeling the same as you, but there's just something about Sigma eyeshadows that I can't resist, okay? I love the packaging, I love the fact that you get brushes with it and they are good quality Sigma brushes. I just love it. Then we have the Untamed. Oh, look at this. Rich, delicious tones and such good quality. We have Enchanted. Oh, so, so pretty. Oh, that purple. And then we have New Mod, which might actually be my favourite. And I do keep the box for this one because it is kind of a velvety packaging, which I love, but it's not the most practical for makeup and in a beauty room. Oh, I still have the plastic in it as well because I was looking after it super well. I know, this is probably the most neutrally one that I've shown you out of the Sigma, but I love this. There's just something about it. Then we are moving on to P. Louise. I'm not sure if I've got all of the palettes here. I feel like I'm missing some. Did I grab them all? Okay, this might be it. I don't know. This is the Watch the Queen Conquer from P. Louise. It is actually a chessboard in the middle, although you would need, if you wanted to use it as a chessboard, to get extremely small pieces to sit on it, and it doesn't sit fully flush to the table either. So I like the idea of it and the fact it can double up as a chessboard, but also there didn't come any pieces with it. I think it would have just elevated it even more if there was little tiny chess pieces with it and the board actually sat flush to the table so you could actually play the game. But the idea and the theming behind it all I do love. A lot of people don't like the P. Louise packaging because it is very big and bulky, and the more I collect from P. Louise, the more I'm seeing what you mean because I'm having to store these somewhere. But in general, I like the packaging. I like the idea of it. the shades and the quality of everything I've tried from P. Louise, I have really enjoyed. Some people don't get on with the formula, but I like it. The shimmers are more putty-like, the mattes are pigmented and blendable, and I do think it is fab. And this has two sides to the palette. It is a little bit annoying if you want to switch between the two and you have to keep turning the palette over, but overall I think this is a fantastic palette. It's going nowhere. Then we have the P. Louise Secret Cinna palette, very big and bulky, like humongous, chunky, heavy. I mean, you could knock someone out of this easily. The colour story of this, I mean, it is all matte and I don't really reach for it. So I think this is probably the only P. Louise palette that I'm going to be decluttering because I don't need it in my collection. It's not really fulfilling a purpose for me or bringing me joy anymore. Then we have the Worldy palette, and I really wanted to get this one. This one's got pink sand that moves around in it. Definitely didn't need to be this big and heavy and bulky. But the colour story of this one is stunning. We do have some shimmers in this one, but they are on the deeper side. We do have a lot of depth in this palette, but I do enjoy the green and the blue tones. I did enjoy working with this palette. I think it's beautiful. I'm definitely keeping this one, even though it's very chunky to store. Then more recently, I got the Money Shot palette, which again, absolutely huge, but this one has a drawer. So in here, this is a predominantly green palette. You know, Money Shot. This is what it looks like. This is a more grungy green type of drawer, and then if you actually open up the top, you can see there's different tones. Let me just try and move this out of the way. More different tones of greens. It's just a plethora of green. What more green could you want in your life? And as a green eyeshadow lover, I couldn't say no. And I've just seen she's releasing one of these that is going to be in a purple colourway, and you know I'm going to be buying it. Then we've got all 5 of the Stack 'em Ups. I think this is the whole collection of the Stack 'em Ups now. We have the orange one, which is called Back Yourself. And it is a beautiful orange toned, sort of rusty and yellowy palette. Really good quality. I feel like all the quality is really good throughout all of these. So I do enjoy the formula. This is the green one. Super pretty. And then we have, what was the green one called? I should be telling you the names. Health is Wealth. This one is called CEOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO and I feel like this is kind of what the new one is going to be like that is coming out, but just so many more shades. Then we have the Talk is Cheap, which is the blue, and I love the fact we've got a nice lilac-y blue in this. So nice, and a minty tone as well. And then we have the pink one, which is called Smoney Tones, and it looks like this. Then I have two of the Love Tapes. Are these called the Love Tapes? I feel like they are. They look like tapes. Like, yeah, they are. They say Love Tapes on them. We've got Under the Mistletoe, which I need to use this Christmas because look at this colour story. Oh, absolutely obsessed with this. The reds, the greens, it's so Christmas, it's beautiful, and I like the packaging of this, and it's easily storable. Then we have the Going Solo, which again, a beautiful black smoky eye type of palette. I'm not sure if this, is that an actual black? I don't feel like it's fully black. I feel like it is more dark charcoal, very dark charcoal. But I really did enjoy working with this palette. Amazing quality in my opinion. If you like this formula, I would definitely recommend. Okay, then we're going to be moving into some Morphe, and I don't love the Morphe formula, to be honest. I did when I first started makeup, but not so much anymore. This is the, I've got eyeshadow everywhere. This is the 39S Such a Gem palette. This is what it looks like, and I never reach for it. I used to love this, and I think I'm going to declutter it because I can't see myself reaching for this again. Then we have the Morphe 9W. It's so annoying when they don't actually put anything on the packaging to differentiate between the different palettes, but this one is a super pretty palette actually. It is gorgeous with the greys, the black. It is a nice sort of neutral and smoky eye type of palette. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Then we have the 35B, which actually I quite like. Oh, this is getting difficult. This is getting very difficult. I think it's another one for the maybe pile. Jaclyn Hill Volume 2. Definitely keeping. I do enjoy this one from Morphe, I have to say. I actually really like this palette, so that's an easy yes. The 35S Sweet Oasis. I did a video with this one. Not 100% happy with the look I did with it now, to be honest, looking back at it, but I really like the tones in this one. It's not the best quality. Granted, but I'm going to be keeping this one. Then we have the 35i Icy Fantasy. Beautiful shimmers. The mattes are rubbish. I'm decluttering. Then we have the original Jaclyn Hill palette that I never, ever reach for. Again, in the maybe pile. I have a random W7 My Atlantis palette here that wasn't with the other W7 palettes for some reason, and this is what it looks like. I did do a video on it and it is super pretty. Am I going to keep reaching for it? Maybe. It's fairly new in my collection. I'm going to keep hold of it for now and see if it survives another declutter. Okay, I think I've decided I'm going to get rid of the original Jaclyn Hill palette because I don't reach for it. I'm going to get rid of the 9W palette as well, which was this one. I do have other things like this in my collection. I can't keep everything. Then the 35B Colour Burst. I feel like I'll keep this one too. Then we have this Morphe palette. This is the 10G Glisten Up palette. This is what it looks like inside, and I had my time with it, I had my fun, and now I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. Morphe has fallen out with me because I just literally moved this last Morphe palette and it knocked the camera. It's not impressed with me, but this is one that I was planning to keep. This is the Everyday Chic. I don't know why I'm showing you black packaging because I actually really like this colour story. Sorry about the plastic and the stupid names, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit... There's just something about this one, okay? I'm definitely keeping this one. Then we have some Sample Beauty. This one is a nice little quad. This was a birthday gift from a friend, and look at the greens in this. And it is really good quality. I really like that it's magnetic. I mean, it is quite a strong magnet, but I think it is very good quality. I'm not sure of the shade names because, like I say, they... Ah! Danger! Help! Oh, does it say the shade name? That one says Shamrock on the back. There we go. That one's Shamrock, but yeah, I really like this little quad. Definitely keeping this. Then we've got the Hydrographic palette. Definitely keeping this. Look at the colour story of this. Look at it. I quite like Sample Beauty's formula. It's not the best in the world, but it is nice. And then we've got the Plush palette, which is here. Not sure if I really reach for this anymore or if somebody else would enjoy this. It does have blurply tones. It has a lot of neutrals. I feel like I'm going to gift this to somebody that will get more use out of it than I do. Then we've got the You Can Be Fruit Pie Filling, which was another gift from a friend. Hold on. We've got a sleeve. I'm not sure why we've got a sleeve. Let's get rid of the sleeve. And then on the inside, I actually really did like using this and I enjoyed this. I've not tried anything else from You Can Be, I believe. But do I need it in my collection still now that it is ever growing? I feel like I want to keep it because it was a nice reminder of a gift from my friend and it has special memories attached to it as well. So I'm going to keep hold of this one. This is the Sample Beauty Equalizer Volume 2 palette and this is amazing quality, I have to say. I don't really dig it out and reach for it anymore. Do I need it in my collection? Do I need it? This is in a maybe pile because I did really enjoy this. Then we have got the Sample Beauty The Prodigy Dual Toned palette and it is so pretty. I love this. If anybody ever asks what Sample Beauty palette to try, this is one that I would recommend. I'm not actually sure if they still do it anymore. That's how long it's been since I've actually thought about it or talked about it, but this is absolutely stunning and I'm not getting rid of this one. Then we have the She Glam Glitz Wiz, which is meant to be a dupe of the Natasha Denona. Is it the Metropolis palette? And I don't have the Metropolis, so I'm not getting rid of this because I'm not going to be getting it. Even if it was still for sale, it is so expensive. And this was like around £10, I believe, from Shein. And it's not bad quality. It's not amazing quality, but it's not bad. So I'll keep this. Then I have the Lime Crime Venus XL2 palette and the colour story of this, oh, it makes me very, very happy to look at this colour story. Even though it is on the more muted side, the only regret I have with this is that I don't really reach for it very much because the mattes are extremely powdery. Like, I mean extreme. You dip your brush in, you're in a massive powder. But I'm not going to get rid of it because I love the colour story. It wasn't the cheapest for me to buy and I will still use it. I will definitely dig it out again and do another look with it. It's just very powdery for the mattes. Then I have two from NYX. We've got the Ultimate Utopia, which I wanted for the longest time, but it wasn't actually available in the UK. And then it was, and I grabbed it, and I am happy that I did, and I can open it. Here we go. This is a beautiful palette. No way am I getting rid of this. I had been lusting over this, looking at the pictures online for such a long time, and it is good quality from NYX. Then we have the Modern Dreamer palette, and now I'm thinking maybe I should get rid of the Morphe palette that I was going to keep. I don't really know if I need to keep this. It has a lot of neutrals and I do have these things elsewhere. I'm going to keep hold of it for now and see if it survives another declutter. Now there's going to be less things in my collection, I might reach for it more. Then we have the W7 Mardi Gras palette. Obviously, I haven't put all the W7 palettes together, which is super annoying, but this is what it looks like. It is a dupe of the Love Tahiti, and it is a very good dupe, I have to say. This is really good quality from W7, so I'm definitely not getting rid of it, because if I hit pan on any of the shades in Love Tahiti, I don't need to get rid of it. I can be using this one. They're not exactly the same, like literally, but it is as darn close as you can possibly get. And looking at the Sample Beauty one, looking at this, I might keep it. I might keep this. I did really enjoy that one. Okay guys, we are into the final segment. I've changed my memory card yet again. Yes, I have been here that long. I think all that's left to show you is my Beauty Bay palettes. Now I do have quite a lot of Beauty Bay palettes. I'm probably not going to declutter any of them just because I love collecting Beauty Bay. They're affordable, they're pigmented, they're usually extremely good quality. So I'm just going to show you the ones that I have. I also do have some singles in my collection that I'm not going to be showing you. I can do a separate video on my singles if that's something you're interested in, but let's dive into, what should we do first? Should we do the big palettes first, get these out of the way? So the bigger palettes that I have in my collection, we'll start up with the Jade palette. This was Jade from Little Mix that did a collab with Beauty Bay, and this is the colour story that she chose for the palette, and it is beautiful. This was reduced when I picked it up. I didn't pick it up at launch, which is probably why I haven't dug into it yet. And it is so stunning, so it's a little bit weird that I haven't actually used it yet, but I definitely will. I can't wait to do a look with this. I am planning to do a look with this on a live with one of my patrons, and we're going to both use this palette. So I'm excited for that. Lots and lots of shades in this. This is one of the 42 colour palettes. I think the next few are as well. This is one of my favourite palettes. It's the Beauty Bay Bright Matte. There was a Beauty Bay Bright palette that did also include shimmers, but the shimmers in that weren't the best I had heard, so I'm glad I picked up just the fully matte version of this palette. And as you can see, a beautiful rainbow colour story, fully matte. You've got your neutrals at the top as well as your white and your black. Every rainbow shade that you could need to create a rainbow coloured look. And I have used this quite a few times. Not that you can really tell. I try and keep my palettes in as best condition as I can, but I really do enjoy this. The formula is fantastic. Then we have the 2.0 version. They brought out the next one. This one does have shimmers in it. This is not just fully matte. And I don't know, I feel like it's very similar to the Bright Matte. I definitely wanted to pick it up because I knew the quality was going to be amazing. Like, for the price of these, for 42 shades, like the quality that you're getting is outstanding. Like, I can't recommend Beauty Bay shadows enough, although I will say they're not as much on the buildable side for the mattes. If that's something you prefer, if you like to start off with your lighter shade and then layer a few shades on top, you might not like the mattes, and the shimmers are on the putty type of formula in general. So take note of that if you've not tried before, but I love the formula of Beauty Bay and the quality of these shadows is fantastic. Then we've got the Midnight palette. Look how stunning this beautiful palette is. I do have a dedicated video on this palette and the Bright 2.0 that I just showed you. I love this palette. I swatched it all out, so the swatches will be in that video as well. Absolutely stunning colour story. I definitely think it is Midnight. I love the purple tones and the blue. You're getting such a variety and a mix in here. I like the way it's laid out. Light tones, dark tones, mid-tones, so many different delicious shimmers to choose from. I just think if you're wanting a larger palette that has got these tones, you can't go wrong with this. For the price, it's amazing. And then we have Earthy, the green version, which looks like this. This is a little bit like the Wilderness palette, which was limited edition, and the Midnight palette that I just showed you, that has got some shades from, I believe it's the Book of Magic and Age of Opulence. So there is some repeat shades, but only because the ones that you can't get anymore are limited edition, so they have included them in this permanent line. Now, I really do like this colour story. I like that we've got some deeper reddy tones in here as well. Some people aren't so keen on that, but it just breaks it up a bit for me and it's not as monochromatic. Now, this palette and the Midnight palette do come in smaller versions if this is too big for you, but I wanted the bigger version. Having said that, the berries now comes in a 42 colour palette. At the time, when all these were releasing, the earthy, the midnight and the berries only came in a 16 palette option, which was very sad, and we wondered why, and now they have released the 42 colour, and it really pains me because I would have liked the bigger version, but I've already got this. So until I am ready to buy the bigger version, I will be keeping this one in my collection. So this is what the berries looks like. It is a super pretty colour story, but it's not as versatile as the big one. It hasn't got as many shades, obviously. So I think it's pretty. It's still amazing quality. Don't reach for this as much just because of the colour story, but yeah, eventually when I get the bigger one, I feel like I'll use that more than I would reach for this. Okay, then we're going to move on to the limited edition Beauty Bay palettes. Oh yes, we've got quite a lot. I've got all of them so far. These are not in order. This is the Love Notes palette. Some of these, I don't know if one or two of these you can still get on Beauty Bay, but you definitely can't get some of them. I'm not sure about this one. This one's pretty, same great formula, but I'm not in love with the colour story because it's very, very light. We do have a little bit of depth and so much light, like what is wrong with this shade? So many light tones, but I don't know, there's not as many mid-tones. Like, what are they doing with this? Like, I would have liked to have seen some more mid-tone shades and less neutrals, because if it's Love Notes and this is the packaging, like, Then we have New Mood, which is really one of the only ones I hate the packaging of because it just looks horrible to me. I know some people absolutely love this packaging, but this is definitely not my favourite design. The colour story though is beautiful. It is a little bit of a strange layout for me though for this colour story. I think that's why I don't particularly dig it out and reach for it, because when I look at it, it's not inspiring to me the way the shades are laid out. They swatch beautifully, same great quality, but yeah, not my favourite of the limited editions. Then we've got the Dark Fantasy, which is my favourite packaging. Look at this delicious packaging, it is gorgeous. And then the colour story inside, obviously it is a Dark Fantasy. I have got videos on the majority of my Beauty Bay palettes, so if you check back on my channel you'll be able to see swatches and looks, and I definitely did review this one. I wasn't disappointed, it is very good quality. It is beautiful. It's also though not my favourite colour story wise, although it's a dark fantasy and we do have green in there and blue and purple. I don't know. Then we've got Sunset Horizons, which was the first of the limited editions, and if you're wanting to create a sunset look, this is the one that I would dig out and go for. I don't think this is available anymore. I don't know how many times they brought this back. Maybe they will bring them back. Sometimes they'll pop up out of nowhere, so keep an eye on Beauty Bay, you never know. But I really enjoy this colour story and formula, and of course it's sunset. One that you definitely can't get hold of, that was a unicorn palette for a lot of people that everybody wanted, and they did bring it back once or twice, I think, in the end, after a very long wait. But this is the Book of Magic. Look at this colour story. You can see why so many people wanted to get their hands on it. And I'm so sad that this was a limited edition, but like I say, some of these shades will be in the Midnight palette if you did miss out on this one, but love that one. Then we have the New Romantic. This colour story is super pretty. It's not fully pinky, it's definitely got some neutrals, and I like that we have a black in this one. I have also ranked all of these Beauty Bay palettes and I have a video on them if you want me to go a little bit more in depth explaining which ones are my favourite and why. This is the Age of Opulence. I nearly called it the Book of Opulence. This is a lot more deeper, some jewel tones. It's got too many neutrals in it for my personal liking. I could have skipped out a few of those neutrals, but I understand why they're there. A lot of people do like them. It is a pretty palette. And then we have the Wilderness. This is so beautiful. I love this colour story because it's got the blues, the greens, the sort of mossy, grungy tones, and your orangey sort of red tones at the bottom. I just feel like this is beautiful. This is really nice if you didn't get your hands on Vida and Myrte from Melt. I feel like it's got some similar tones that you could create similar kind of looks with. But again, Wilderness being limited edition, they did bring it back a few times. Not sure if it's ever going to come back again. Super annoying because these are amazing palettes from Beauty Bay, so I wish they were all around all of the time. And then we have the collab palettes with Beauty Bay. We have the Nikki Tutorials palette, which I love the idea and the design behind this and the way that it opens. And I love the shimmers. They are beautiful. The mattes are not the normal Beauty Bay quality, and I'm not quite sure what went wrong with this palette, and I feel gutted for Nikki that it turned out so badly. They still have some of these palettes, I believe, on their site reduced ridiculously because they're trying to get rid of them because people were not loving this formula, unfortunately. And I'm really, really sad for Nikki because I think the colour story is pretty, the idea is pretty, the theme, just the actual pigment of the mattes, especially the deep blue shade called Amsterdam at the bottom. It's not great. Then last but by no means least, we have the Me, Myself and Mama Mitchell collab with Beauty Bay. This was one of the first palettes in my collection. A lot of people don't like the packaging of this. I actually really do like it. And I like the fact that you get a mirror in this. It is removable, it's magnetic. So let's just get rid of that so I don't blind you. And this is the colour story. I think it is beautiful. If you can't get your hands on this anymore, which I don't think it's ever going to come back, a lot of these shades are now in the other palettes that Beauty Bay have brought out. Can you tell I am slowly losing my voice and I have just realised this is not the last palette. I am staring at another little pile next to me. I actually believe this was the last one. The mattes in this are incredible for me. The shimmers not so much. I am not in love with this shimmer formula of this palette, but I will never declutter it. It holds a lot of memories for me because this is when I really started getting into makeup like properly, not just, you know, starting out dibbling in it with a bit of Makeup Revolution. This was when I really wanted to play with colour and blends and colour theory. But yeah, the shimmers aren't my favourite. Okay, I swear, this is the last little pile, okay? I promise. So we have a little trio here that comes in a nice little box. It was the Disney collab, and we have 3 palettes. Let's take these out. Now these are actually, the colour stories are based on the actual original movies. So they are a little bit more muted colour stories, not as bright, vivid in your face. Having said that, I've just opened Dumbo first and look at that bright yellow. But these specific shades are taken from the Dumbo film, and I don't know, this one is my least favourite out of the Disney ones because, I don't know, this colour story is just not my cup of tea. And actually, out of all the Disney films, I didn't really ever like Dumbo. Like, I'm a Disney fanatic, but Dumbo is not my thing personally. But that's what the Dumbo palette looks like. Then we have the Alice in Wonderland Cheshire Cat palette, which looks like this, much more up my street colour story wise. Very, very nice. These are all matte palettes, by the way, these little Disney ones. I would have liked to have seen one shimmer in them, but I'm pleased in this we get depth and light shades, and it is nice quality. I don't know if these Disney ones are as good quality all round as some of the others from Beauty Bay. Like, they're good, but are they as good? The jury's still out. I'd have to try them again. It's been quite a while since I've used these. And then the last one in this little trio is the Jungle Book palette, which looks like this. The colour story of this one, again, beautiful. Oh, the tones in this, absolutely stunning. So that is the trio, and I got it in a little box because I bought all 3, and I did review these if you want to see my first impressions on them. But then they brought out 2 more, and they're not in a little box, and they're just sort of separate, which makes me a little bit sad. Like, could we have not had another one and a box? Like, a bit strange to me. But this one is the Alice in Wonderland. It's again Alice in Wonderland, but this is not the Cheshire Cat one. This is what it looks like. Like, all the shade names are on the back, which again, a little bit annoying. I wish there was actually on the inside, but is this the Mad Hatter? That is the colour story of this one. Super pretty again, all matte. And then we have Bambi. Oh, what a film. So sad. And this is what the colour story looks like in here. The blues are a little bit similar. I mean, like, we have a lot of light shades and then the 2 random deeper shades. Obviously they're taken from the film, but I'm just not in love with the colour story of this one. Then we have the Beauty Bay Pastels palette. As you can see, it's absolutely beautiful, all matte. Gorgeous quality pastels, and this is a great companion palette for so many other palettes. If you need a blending out shade, this could be your palette, and it's so affordable. These are actually really good quality pastels. I'd say this is kind of on par with the Lost in Los Angeles from BH Cosmetics. Then we've got the Utopia palette, which is a little bit more neon-y. I don't really reach for this unless I was going to pair it with something else. I don't know, it's a bit of an odd colour story, it's a bit of a mishmash to me, but as a companion palette it is really nice. And then we have Techno Days. This is really pretty because it's actually got shimmers in this one. But again, a companion palette for me because it's not a full, cohesive, complete colour story. I did like the look I created with this. I did do a video on this and I got the brush set as well. But another cute little palette from Beauty Bay. And then the last 2, the final 2, these are these the 2 newest from Beauty Bay that I've got in my collection? From the A.O. Coraline collection, the collab that she did. This is the Coraline collection. 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 This is the Coraline col And what's this palette called first? This is oh heck, it's French. And I'm not great at pronouncing French. It's a beautiful language, but me speaking it, not so much. Douce Romance? Okay, this is the colour story. It's super pretty. The quality is good. I like that we have 2 shimmers and we have some depth. Really like that one, but I think my favourite colour story out of the 2 is this one. What is this one called? The Nebulex Secret. And oh, look at this. This reminds me a little bit of Dark Fantasy though, and this didn't come out too long or too far away from Dark Fantasy. I feel like, was Dark Fantasy first and then this one? Yeah, some of the shades feel a little bit similar to that, but if you didn't want Dark Fantasy and you wanted something a little bit smaller, I would say this one is a beautiful palette to pick up. We do have 2 shimmers, there's a hair on it. There is 2 shimmers in this, but then this is a black matte with some silver sparkle, but of course that will blend away if you are actually blending on the eye rather than just packing it on. But another super cute little palette. And that, guys, is my complete palette collection. Thank you so much if you stuck with me till the end. If you know the number of palettes that I have got in my collection, you are a legend and you deserve a Blue Peter badge. I don't know if people in other countries know what a Blue Peter badge is, but in the UK that's like, if you've got a Blue Peter badge. I will come back in a minute and show you all the palettes that I'm decluttering again, and I will count them. I'm not counting through the whole of my collection though, because wow, my throat is like, I don't know how much longer I can talk. So I've just counted and I am getting rid of all of these palettes, and there are 42. Now that probably isn't a very high number in comparison to the amount I have in my collection. However, this is a passion for me. Makeup in general, but especially eyeshadow palettes, and collecting is my favourite thing. And I like to do it over a long period of time. A lot of things I get on offer, a lot of things I will buy second hand from people or get gifted from people or receive in PR. So I might have a large collection, but I'm really happy with that, and it's my collection, not anybody else's, so I don't need any judgy eyes. All of these palettes will be offered up to my patrons and my friends, and none of them will go to waste, none of them will be going in the bin, but please do not ask me for them because, like I say, first dibs is going to go to the people in my life. I'm not going to be sending these out to people that are watching this channel, but thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm quite pleased with the amount I've decluttered, to be honest. I didn't actually think I would declutter this many. I am a little bit of an eyeshadow hoarder. If you do know the total number of palettes I had, you are a legend. Please leave the number in the comments down below. Let's compare numbers. I may try and count through and see for myself and see if I can get some sort of number. I mean, I've got no idea, to be honest. Maybe my husband will do it for me, but thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this video, guys. It means the world that you're here on my channel, supporting me, watching my videos. If you could like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, and hopefully, guys, I'll see you in my next one. Bye!